Oh, shut up. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
On a rude note here. Hello.
Yeah.
um, let's hope it
Ross is
wasn't.
telling me to shut up, everybody.
Well, we just started talking and then already like, come on. Um, so hope you guys well. I hope you
Yep.
guys enjoyed your free comic book day if you do partake in that adventure.
Yep.
I even did a thing. I actually even traveled almost 2 hours to get to my comic book shop just for that.
Shush. You went
I
to visit
had
him in
to,
person?
yeah, because it's been like a year probably since I last went in
That's
that shop.
awesome. Yeah.
So we decided well, my husband decided to actually drive us there, which is great for me. But also it's
That's
a
so
good
great.
excuse because it's by the beach. So, and the weather for the first time it was sunny and wasn't miserable. It was quite breezy though. It wasn't as like you can go like like it's coast anyway. So it's a bit. It feels a little bit cold the water, but it was a beautiful day. We didn't stay there long at all. I even didn't stay there in the comic book shop long. I just wanted to kind of like. I heard it's not really appreciation to us. It's more appreciation to the comic book people. So yeah. Wow.
Gordal. Hello. That is a hell of a giveaway. That's amazing.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is interesting. They even went extra mile, I think. I mean,
That's really nice of him.
my comic book, I had a 30% sale in his shop.
Mm.
He was busy. He looked at me, greeted me. We had like brief chat. He was like really happy to see like how you actually made it because like the thing is what I do with him. I called before, so if I don't make it, can you just keep aside some books for me if you can? And it's like, yeah, just give me the list. I'll sort you out. Okay, cool. But I wanted to make an effort just to see the place. To be honest, feel the vibe of being in a comic book shop. There was quite a few kids, which was really nice to see.
That's awesome.
My son didn't really care much, to be honest. I
Mhm.
asked him to pick up all comic books, and he's like me, and ran off really. Well, he wanted to. He because my guy has statues and action figures,
Mm.
and that his eyes were all over that. And I was like,
Mhm.
like statues, you don't want it to, like something happens, you pick because he touchy feely, like kids
Yeah.
6 years old.
Yeah, like most
Just want,
kids. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he wants to touch stuff, like so. I was like, ugh. But like it's kind of precious, like 100, 200 pound
Oof,
one.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like he has a one like those pricey ones in this place away from it, but there were some other ones. He was like, I want that one. It's like, really, just because it looks pretty, now you want it. And then
Mhm.
we left the shop and he forgot about it, of course. But that's just
Yeah.
how the kids are. Oh, oh wow,
That's pretty
wow,
amazing. 200 crammed into the shop. Wow.
wow. That's very nice. What a good
That's
story,
really good
man.
for them to get all that business and everything. That's
Mm.
wild.
That means they have good ones. I know 5. Ooh, looking forward to what I want. Wow, nice one. That's really cool. I think it's
Shops,
really
yeah,
nice
that's awesome.
if you can do that as well. Like you go to
Yeah.
so many shops. I mean, like if I would be still living in London, there's like in just a center you can visit 3 or 4 if they're still there, which I don't know if they are because
Mhm.
I don't know if business is like quite difficult to keep up with rent prices as well because they keep on skyrocketing. Like shops around in this village where I am keep on closing for like charity based shops, which is kind of sad because it's charity based. Like people will give charitable things, but not many people now buying a lot of stuff anymore. So
Mhm.
because it's everything that. So that's why I just kind of wanted to see like it's just me. I'm still here, kind of thing. Just be there and just experience that little bit of it.
Yep.
And he's really good. He doesn't ever have. I know some shops have a limit to what kind of free comic books you want.
Yeah.
He displays them, lets them pick. I mean, they kind of tell them, but they're just. I've never felt like he has that kind of grab on it. I think he wants people to come and just like get them coming in. And I saw some regulars, which I kind of recognize sometimes because I visit like once in the blue moon, but it seems to be the same people coming to him because they appreciate the guy's like almost what 28 years of working in the same comic book shop by himself, keep on chucking along without with having parent health issues and all that stuff. He still keeps on coming back and doing all this stuff. It's just amazing. The man
Hmm.
is really passionate about comic books. He seems to be in his
Hmm.
business, and I think he has good friends around him. So that's a nice thing to do. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was really lovely, to be honest. I'm really glad I did that. Did you do?
Yeah.
Did you go?
We did, yeah. We usually go to a few shops, but we couldn't this year because Lily had a birthday party in the afternoon to go to, so we
Oh,
only made it to
mm,
one. So we went
mm,
to 204 Comics, and
yeah,
he usually, like most shops, he usually has a limit. But this
mm.
year, he specifically ordered kind of like double what he normally does. So he
Oh
was like,
wow,
"No, no limit. Take as many as you want. If you want one of everything, go for it." So my daughter got a nice stack of like I don't know 6 or 7, maybe even
wow,
8 comics. I picked
jeez.
myself up 3 from there, and then this afternoon I went over to Galaxy Comics to
To
pick up
have
my one comic on my pull list and grab a couple of it. He had limits. His was for adults like 2. There was a limit of 2 free comics.
mm.
And then, but yeah, we usually try to go to a few places, but it just didn't work out this year, unfortunately.
The thing is with that is also, don't forget, like they pay for it, man. They
That's
have they
right.
have to
Yeah.
fork it out. It's not free for us. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lovely feeling, especially when it's plastered on every single book. But it's not free for the
Well,
shops. So,
I think Ashley at 204 has had a pretty good year, so that's kind of why he went all out and just
yeah.
bought a whole bunch like he had and multiple titles. Like it wasn't just kind of like 10
Hmm.
titles. He had a ton of stuff. He had a table that was all kids stuff and then a
Oh,
table that was kind of YA. The YA one had about I don't know 6 or 8 different titles on it, and then there
hmm.
was the rest of them on kind of like the counter by the till and stuff. So yeah, he did really good at getting like a nice wide selection as well too. And same thing, I was talking to him, and he said that it was standing room only in there at the top of the day. And then I saw a post from him today saying they had their best turnout so far. And he said it was so great to see a lot of kids come through. So there's some
Yeah,
positives for sure from it. I mean, we'll see if those kind of translate into kind of return business and stuff for them. But
yeah,
it's great that kids and parents are coming out and checking it out.
yeah. That's good, especially
Yeah.
on that in that sense, because I like seeing that. I mean, I want my child like so. My son is now thoroughly into Captain Underpants
Hmm.
and
Awesome.
Dogman, so it's the same writer.
Hmm.
I think Captain Underpants has more quirky quotes and laughs, so he absolutely does that. Like, go iron your shoes, and he just goes crack up, like look
Yeah.
like a crack up. Or there's a phrase they say, go iron your shoes,
Yeah.
or oh hang up or something, hang your shoes on or something, and it's just like it's hilarious. Or use soft cheese or something like that. So he finds that absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Which is great, like that kind of thing that invites him to get excited about it, because unfortunately he doesn't sell it, those stuff. He more contrary in comic book based, like superhero stuff for kids, and he's like, I don't have that kind of stuff, don't worry about it. I was like, no, but he's like really pleased, because he said you're doing the right steps. If you want the kid to become a comic book fan, you go with those first because it's graphic novels, and then maybe hopefully you'll introduce to some superheroes he likes. He always likes like Superman, because I think my son likes red blue color scheme, because Spider-Man is another thing which is the same color scheme.
Hmm.
So Superman has this kind of, but he always like cracks up because that I don't know if you taught your yeah Lillian, but I always wanted to see if he does no 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 no. He says Batman afterwards.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that? So I told him that
Yeah.
he does that all the time, every single day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then now he says to me now, like, no, 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 no. It's like I have to say Batman. He's like, looks at me, he's like, come on, reply. So that kind of thing. So I'm kind of like getting the message going through, like
Yeah.
you're gonna live with that more often than anything else, because I do enjoy this stuff. So hopefully
Yeah.
I'm bringing him up to do that kind of stuff. So he was telling me, he said like, I'm really pleased you actually giving him, you're doing the right steps to get him to be my customer. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
hilarious. It's like you're gonna
Future
be like, what?
customer.
Yeah, how old you gonna be when he's gonna come to you as a
Yeah.
customer? And he's like, we were just having a laugh in that sense. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun, like when you know the person for that long. Well, I've been a customer a decade now,
Wow.
so So like we know now, like that's why we have that rapport, which is absolutely fantastic. So if I want
Hmm.
something, he always tries. If he doesn't, he tells me just straight away, no, I can't do it for you. Like, so
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
get disappointed, but like at least you're straightforward, not like making me go around and around for no bloody apparent reason.
yeah.
So yeah, that's why I kind of made an extra effort to do that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
because I just like it, I think it's important, and I think it's good for them as well, knowing that people are there to support him as well. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Hmm.
So did you get in? Did he have it? You said he had a sale as well too. Did you pick anything up in the sale?
No, I had I basically wanted to make sure I'm there. I picked up a couple of things, but they were already picked up. So I basically wanted to make
Oh,
many, like, I mean, he sends me something and I
yeah,
was asking him and I was like, I'm coming. So I was like, you don't worry, because the way we send the payments, because I was just like, I want to make sure I'm there. I already picked up something beforehand. He already gave me a discount. So
yeah.
I was like, no, I'm not gonna, because there, as I say, there was lots of things very tempting. I'm just like, no, this time I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do. I'm kind of like
Mhm.
trying really slowly not to overdo my thing, because I get overly excited about
Yeah,
stuff.
no,
So
totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, I think like 204 had a sale as well. I got just two books from the sale. He had like a
cool.
25% off sale, so I just picked
Yeah,
up two things, that were a little pricier, not hugely expensive. Like one was $8, so I got it for 6, and the other was 20, so I got it for like 15 or whatever, right?
yeah,
So, but just a couple of things to kind of throw him
exactly.
some extra money as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, I wanted to do on that sense, but because I was looking forward to get something to my for my son, and I was like looking and see how he's gonna react, but he overdid it, and as I say, he got overly excited about stuff. Like, oh look, comic shop is negotiating image for local artists to
Yep,
compete to submit the Witchblade. Oh, so is he coming back the Witchblade? Wow, they are
guess
returning
so.
all the
Yeah,
titles. If it image approves it, it will be. Wow,
yeah. Yeah,
that's
there was a
cool.
guy in town that was doing similar things. Like he was telling me about it one time. You basically have to
Mhm.
propose it to the company and they have to approve it. And yeah, then you can get kind of like a store exclusive. So it'll have your branding on it and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. That's very cool.
I've seen a couple of YouTube videos of people who actually goes to those shops where they specifically had that store's cover, isn't it? That's how it
Hmm.
goes sometimes as well. Is
Yeah.
that similar? Okay, so they somehow doing that as well. Actually, it's nice, as long as you kind of
Mhm.
like finding ways to communicate, which is what you need these days, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
distribution problems and all that stuff is it's becoming quite a
And it's good
bit.
promotion for your store, right? Like good promotion for the artist. It becomes this kind of hard to
Yeah.
find variant. So you have that whole crowd that wants to dig in and grab that stuff if they really like a book. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty smart it's a smart idea to try it out at least and see if there's any returns on it.
Hmm. Before we start talking about comic books, I tried to watch Zatoichi, not saying that I didn't, but I didn't
Hmm.
realize. Well, not I did realize, but subtitles. I found it
Uh-huh.
on archives.org. Do you know
Oh, you
archives.org?
did? Okay.
So Zatoichi first movie is in there, in
Hmm.
really good quality as well, as far as I know what the
Sweet.
quality should have been. But
Hmm.
it's subtitles. So I started watching and I saw about like quite a good chunk of it, but then I got tired from reading. And
Hmm.
like and I don't know, because I am trying to find the right time and space to do so. And I didn't finish what, but I'm already was intrigued. It's like, why just
Yeah,
continue
cool.
watching? But then I realized I had the school run to do, so I went to pick up
Yeah.
my son, and I just
Yeah.
basically went away memory, and
Yeah, right.
somehow I completely like left on it. But thankfully, I kept the website open, so I
Yeah.
know where I
Just
can.
restart it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
cool
read.
that they had it. That's not surprising, I guess. I never even thought of archive.org, honestly. But
I don't
that's
know if they
cool.
have
That's
a other one, but when I searched that website, straight away popped out, and I was like, "Oh, great!" Because you said to me it is on YouTube, didn't you say
yeah,
that?
I've seen some on YouTube floating around. I don't know if they still are. Like this was a few years ago, but
I looked it up; it isn't anymore. So
I
that's
see.
YouTube
Okay.
it isn't there anymore. So
Yeah.
I went in to see, like just typed in where, like locally in this part of the world, who would
Yeah.
stream that kind of like a movie, and I think Amazon had it, which I wouldn't go that route anymore. So I don't go that. So and then I was like, oh, archives. Surely I was like, maybe you have just like a trailer or something. So I just press it in, and it's full blown movie, which is
Sweet.
absolutely fantastic. It's fantastic. So I loved. I didn't realize he was blind. Maybe I would missed a line or something. So
Mhm.
when he comes into the bar and you just have this demeanor to himself, I was like, oh, that's becoming really proper samurai kind of feel to
Hold on a
it. So I
second.
really, oh yeah, Madison. She's like,
Yeah.
get out. Are you kicking her
Yeah. No,
out?
just there's so much stuff all over the place for her to knock over. Anyway, sorry. Go on. I'm listening.
Your precious action figures will fall.
I actually just got little stands for them because they always fall over. So I'm like, screw this. I got a little pack of like
Oh,
10 little
oh yeah,
stands
yeah.
for their feet
With
to
the
help them
nip
stay in the
inside, like
water.
where you can put
Yeah,
your
that's
feet
right.
in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So
Little
anyway, so
penis, little penis on top of it there.
so
Just
yeah,
shove in
so
their foot.
yeah, so I definitely. Oh, I'm gonna finally be able to watch the Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
So
Where'd you find it?
it's streaming already. So
Hey,
on the stream
sweet.
website. So I don't know. I remember. I don't know who was it, but something which I can actually basically rent for. So I will go for it doing that. Um, I'm really excited, but now I'm just like wondering because you told me. I remember when you said about it, you got really excited because it was huge screen. I was like, do I have a big enough screen? I mean, I
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
good enough, but
I
I'm
think
really
it'll still
worried.
be good.
Well, I'm really worried. I don't know how you guys, if you're struggling with that kind of thing, but when they speak, okay, when they speak, the volume is usually quite low and you're really difficult to hear. But when it's action, it's like absolute bombastic.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think it's just because of the way they're doing it. So I just wanted to make sure I want to experience really well because I kind of hyped up in my head because I really like Godzilla. And that's a
Hmm.
Japanese-based Godzilla movie, which is absolutely what you want, at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure I have the right things. So I'm
yeah.
really excited about that. I just wanted to tell you about this. It's actually I
My
actually finally gonna be able to do that.
That's amazing. My
Mm.
wife, for my birthday, she got me the Godzilla -1 soundtrack on vinyl. It's not here yet. It's coming in the mail. It got delayed a
Mhm.
little bit. It was
Yeah.
supposed to ship late April, but now it's going to be like mid-May by the time it ships. But it's a double LP, so I cannot wait for that to come in.
I Gore, I can't tell you because you're not in USA. You have so many other streaming things. I don't think it's Disney. That's for sure because I
No,
think I checked.
I,
Because
I've been checking as well too, and Toho is pretty. They're pretty. They really keep control of their stuff. Not that any of the
yeah,
Godzilla isn't streaming, because a lot of it is streaming all over the place. But I think with the
yeah.
newer stuff, they really
No,
want
it's
to
yeah,
focus
they
where it's
were.
coming out.
This one was proper difficult to get hold of to be on a
Yeah,
stream. Like who's gonna pick up the rights?
yeah.
Um, uh, wait, I'm gonna just
Can't
stream
wait for
in.
the Blu-ray release, man. I can't wait. I'm dying to see it again,
Yeah,
even though I've seen it twice. Yeah,
I
if
will
you could, Gord, just get the lawyers on it. Are
yeah,
your
because
lawyers also the ones in the Good Wife, Gore Vidal? I've been watching the Good Wife with my wife recently, so
come on, I've seen somewhere. I don't remember. I can't find who is actually doing that in our parts because I remember because they kept it under wraps for a very long time.
mhm.
You couldn't see anything because it was in cinema for a long kind of time. I heard. Whoa, it's pouring down. Just got distracted
Is
by
it?
like the whoosh noise. Yeah, it's raining like
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, so I want to definitely going to be able to see it. So I'm excited. Oh, represent
Yes,
very
very
good
good.
vibes. And where else do I usually? I don't know. I watched something I want to talk about, but I think I'm escaping. My brain's escaping. I haven't watched that Shaolin, isn't it? That one. Haven't
Shogun?
Shogun. There you go. I'm already
Yeah.
blanking on the name. I haven't seen that one. I've looked trailer. Which is kind of weird for me. I don't usually do trailers. My husband
Mhm.
watched trailer of Deadpool and he got really excited about it. It's like, really? You like because he was like already he's down on the Marvel movies. He's like burned. But
Yeah.
Deadpool is kind of picks him up a little bit more because it's hilarious, it's stupid, like pure entertainment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he said that the trailer was fantastic. I didn't watch it. I don't know. Have you watched it?
I
The
watched the Deadpool trailer. I haven't seen any of the Deadpool movies, but I watched the trailer. I mean, it looked just like the other ones. It looked entertaining, I guess. It's just I never really had an urge to see Deadpool stuff.
always, I don't know. It's just a pure entertainment. It's like
Yeah,
no, your brain switches off, and if you get those gags, and it's a bit uncomfortable sometimes. Like when he has those tiny arms when he's grow up, that just disturbs the hell out of you.
yeah.
I can't believe how much David Stephen books have spiked
They
online.
have a
Oh, what? Seriously,
Can't believe
Deadpool.
how much Dave Stevens' book has spiked online. The two Cheval Noir covers he did are selling for hundreds of dollars online. Really? Yeah, I mean his stuff has always been pretty pricey.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy that they've spiked recently. There must be just a resurgence of love for the amazing talent that Dave Stevens was, right? But yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
selling those Cheval Noir because I've got those ones. I sold one of
I've
them. I got one of them graded, the Planet Comics cover that he did. I
a
had
yellow
that
one.
graded one, sold that one. Yeah, yeah.
Yellow
But
one, the two babes on a rocket, isn't it?
that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one. Yeah.
I have that one. Well, the only one I probably managed to acquire. I never had Cheval Noir covers of his. I always wanted to. I
Yeah,
wanted
it's such a good
Dar-
series on top of it. So yeah, it's a double
I wanted
bonus.
I wanted Darrow one, of course, because Shaolin Cowboy on top of it on
Yeah.
that cover. I definitely wanted that one, and of course Dave Stevens one. And I never, the chick, the space chick. Is that the one of Chanel? That's gonna spike, and I think that's gonna go up. I even made a painting similarly, kind of based,
Mm.
not based on it, but kind of that. So
Yeah,
it's
one of my
actually
favorite
hang.
covers of his is that Alien Worlds with
Yeah,
the woman in outer space with the big bubble kind
yeah,
of
that's the one
helmet.
I'm talking about.
It's
So no, it's
beautiful. Yeah,
Alien
yeah.
Worlds. Yeah, I've
Love
never got
that one.
hold of that because the time I was looking as well, it had the resurgence as well. So must be something printing. Maybe they had reprinted with his cover on something, because that's what
Hmm.
usually drives the prices up most of the time with his.
Yeah.
Because he's been unfortunately gone for a while now. So,
Hmm.
but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so we finished watching Shogun and it's incredible.
Okay.
I don't watch a ton of TV. It takes me
Hmm.
quite a bit to kind of get into it. It was so enjoyable all the way through to the end episode. It
Hmm.
really felt like a complete story. It was really engaging. Apparently the show ends the very similar to how the book ends.
Oh
There's
wow.
not really any talk of a second season because
It's
they'd have to
Netflix.
kind of make up a story. And honestly, I kind of hope they
Oh no.
don't fuck around and do something else. I hope they just kind of keep it as it is. It worked
Hmm.
so well as one kind of story, 10 episodes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Also one of my favorite things, having a limited episodic TV series. I love that. I thought me and my wife were blown away by it. We thoroughly enjoyed. I think there was only one episode that we were kind of iffy on, but the rest of it, it just when it started ramping up, it just started ramping up. And yeah, it was a really satisfying ending. And Tadanobu Asano, the actor that I know from Takashi Miike movies, he just
Hmm.
knocks it out of the park. He's such a good actor. He really ends up stealing the show to some degree. Like they're all amazing performances. There's no doubt about it, but there's something extra special about his performance. You never really know which side of the line he's on, and it's really, really damn good. Son of Shogun starring Seth Rogen in 2027. Yeah, right. Yeah, he'll be a pot smoking.
And
Yeah,
it laughs like Beavis and Butthead almost.
yeah,
Like that. Come on, come on.
yeah,
It doesn't stop. That dude is like, anyway, it's quite
yeah. It's worth
interesting.
seeing though if you ever do sit and yeah, give it a shot for sure.
Okay, so you picked up. So okay, shall we start with free comic book day?
Sure.
Whatever you. So you want to
I
start
didn't
and
read
show?
any of them, but yeah, sure.
You didn't read any of them. Come on.
No, not the free comic book day ones. No, because I read a bunch of other because I got other stuff, so I
Oh,
ended up reading that first. Where the hell? Go ahead. What did you get?
do you want me to do it first?
Yeah, sure. Start off. Yeah.
Oh, let's go. I don't know why, but I don't know. Think I have picked up any of DC ones, which I didn't know if I even have one, to be honest. So
Hmm.
the ones with okay, let's go. Okay, I don't really cover that much of Marvel, but this Blood Hunt slash Uncanny X-Men stuff is coming out,
Mm.
and I really like an X-Men type of the vibe. And but this is like a new, I guess, event called Blood Hunt, and it starts really quite well. To be honest, it has this uh, Spider-Man scene on the page where he's basically making fun of this guy, and he becomes calling him like a dork force. So he's like a dork. So because he's supposed to be Doctor Dark, and the Spider-Man are making fun of him, and all sorts of things. And they show this kind of like of things happened while he's fighting scene and all the stuff punching out, and then suddenly he's like goes this, well, like tornado type of the thing, and an event basically happens. Also, because I'm not very familiar with things, there's of course Fantastic Four mentioned, and Reed is and how pissed off the she is Susan, is that her name? Anyway, so she's so pissed off with him. It's like, come on, come up with the idea. Well, like, not idea, but like, when you talk a sentence, I want to know exactly what you mean about it. Like, don't go around about it, just tell me what it is. And the dimensions thinks something happens in that dimension, and that's where the scene's gonna happen. Really like this one because finally I've seen some Daredevil, because I haven't seen
Mhm.
Daredevil in modern stuff at all. And that nice fight scenes happening. So vampires comes in fruition, and it starts eating every single human, I guess, in Manhattan first. And also, it has this Atlanta scene, which I was kind of confused. Pink hair, I thought maybe it's the Pixie, one of the X-Men, but no, this is I guess, Marvel's version of Buffy Vampire Slayer, but she's a daughter of Blade, as far as
Ah, okay.
I got the gist of it. And she's kind of going into town doing stuff, and he's like, "Oh no, not good enough," and she gets almost in trouble, and the guys get slashed because, spoiler alert. Okay, this is a spoiler, but the main character, I guess, gonna be helping is Dracula,
Well,
and that's how the first things. It's actually quite entertaining written. Really, kind of tries to grab your attention, And then afterwards they have this. The skies have gone dark. The sun hiding his face from the carnage to come. The children of the night, the vampires, has risen as one from the dark and hidden places of the world to drown the Marvel universe in blood. Apparently, so there you go.
yeah, it does
Yeah.
now, Rickles. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it has a lot of that. So that's what I guess the big Shazam happening. But then, of course, my husband asked me, because there's this animated series of X-Men, yes,
Mm,
and they gonna come up with I guess the same type of the series with Jubilee in this one, the sample. Oh, you have a Jubilee on, and it had this real weird thoughts, sounded like a male's thoughts, not hers, the way
okay.
that described situation was happening. So the mansion seems to be being boarded about. She can't enter it anymore. They're taking the signs of Xavier School of Mutants away from it. The cargo ships, everything is locked up, and apparently somebody who is in charge there, which is this lady, who I have no clue who she is. They mention her name in here, but she's in charge to lock this up and kind of like go after them or something. It was kind of confusing. I wasn't really understanding what's going on, but apparent, apparently, Jubilee also has a nice new power. Not only shooting her fireworks, as you usually know what Jubilee's up. If you watch the animated series and you haven't read comic books, usually that's what she has done, stung you with a fireworks in your face. Or but now she has this other feature. So what's happening in here basically? So she's kind of pissed off and annoyed. She's been bullied by this gang of kids in the car. She decided that because they're not supposed to be interacting with humans this way, like not approach them, hide away, don't do a messy scene. But Jubilee has maybe got enough, or it felt like she had enough, and she goes into where they actually parked up in this diner, and some by really a miracle chance, the diner's owner's daughter has mutant abilities, but her mother is in denial. She keeps apologizing to everybody. She has a skin condition. It's not really a mutant. She's not really a mutant. Jubilee extra gets pissed off with everything else in the situation where she's at. And then she basically doused them with us, like the power of faucets in America's diners. I mean, come on, where is this rivers coming from? But apparently you can. I'm just making a joke, but anyway. And then her power is this: she can slice it in half, like almost like Wolverine section. So she does this nice firework action, and then with that firework, she manages to slash the car in into it in the X, like X-Men,
Mm.
part of it. So, and then somebody's hidden. Is it Jean Grey? I'm not sure. They do look like, they don't mention the name of it. This is Parasite because she's under, and the way it ends, she's under this nice. Is it the Cerebro place where the Xavier used to be going to put the helmet on, and that's where the
Uh-huh.
powers come from? Is she locked up in there? I'm not sure. They don't really mention it, but this is how they're gonna have the starting.
Mm.
Oh, really? Is that a compliment or is it?
I'd
I'm
say
not
so,
really.
yes.
Oh, okay, good. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of entertaining. I always kind of like, this is the my kind of way to delve into a bit of more Marvel to see what this thing's all about. Intrigued by the characters. I'm not sure if are really well written. In generally, X-Men animated series rocks. I think they're really really well done. I think they
Mhm.
really they managed to nail the characters in the show, and generally the bad guy is kind of freaky as well. I never heard of him because I think it's more of the newer generation bad guy who is going to be a bad guy for the but I think there's only what couple of more series left. Um and I really intrigued by I really like Blade, and if Blade has daughter, but is she well written? I'm not sure. I will have a look to see if I keep remembering this thing. I might just get hold of it. Library definitely gonna have event books. They do usually, Marvel event books usually is in library most of the time because of the popularity or people requesting it somehow. So that's not bad, for to
Mhm.
just like have an example. And it's nice to see there's not that many ads, even though there is quite a few of them, but it's really not really, actually quite surprisingly. This is, I think, what kind of event and who's writing will be. Like
Right.
begins in July. Mr. Damien, hello.
Yo,
Cheers. I'm getting warm.
cheers. I'll open my second one.
Anyway, oh, you're already on second. Wow, you're proper going for it.
Yeah, thirsty today.
Yeah. Oh, there's a different one now. Okay, go. Now your turn.
Um, I'll just
You
quickly
can
show
show
you
what.
what I grabbed for
Yeah.
free comic book day. Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
So
and
the two I
I'll
got
find.
at Galaxy today, I guess one of them was a Halloween. He had some other stuff on the shelf from like the
Yeah.
Halloween free comic stuff. So I picked up this Daredevil Devil's Reign. I think I've got one or two issues of this Devil Reign stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I, like you were saying, it's nice to
That's
sort
nice.
of dip your toes back in every once in a while and check stuff out. But the one that 204 Comics didn't have that I was looking forward to grabbing was the Turtles free comic book day. Yeah, because I didn't see it at 204, so I'm glad I went to Galaxy. They had a lot less choices at
Uh-huh.
Galaxy, but they had this one most importantly because I was really curious to pick this up and dig into it. Did you read that one yet?
Yep. I can. Do you
You
want me
did,
to
yeah.
talk about it?
Yeah,
I
sure,
can
yeah.
talk
Give
about
her,
it.
yeah.
So, I'm not sure what's the timeline gonna be,
Yeah,
or how this, because one I will care the most is this. That's my
right.
gonna be because it's ongoing series. You see, that's what most important for me. There's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of turtle books afterwards, and it seems to be Eastman and Led is gonna still continue concentrating as far as advertisement on the Ronin stuff or something extras or
Oh,
last years of
okay.
Ronin, because that's what you concentrate. Or Tom Waltz, and Eastman is going to be working on, because it says the future of Timothy starts here. I'm not really
Yep.
sure what's happening with that one because I don't really want to go on that route. I just want to see what's happening with that. They're also going to do the Last Ronin 2 Revolution. They keep on doing themselves as well. But this one contains two stories. The first one um, is it's going to be a special of a couple of issues, and it's called Night Watcher. And it seems to be that humans pretending to be mutants goes into town
Ah, I
to
see.
raid a bank, and there's this person they keep on hearing about. It's a turtle. Doesn't know if it's one of them. Who it is, I'm not really had a grasp about for it. Maybe when you
Right.
read it, you're gonna give me maybe a bit of it, but it's a nice action scene, quite freaky, a bit more darker tone to it. Because I felt that at the beginning you feel like this not is not it's actual mutants coming into the town, because what
Hmm.
happens is that I told you before what's in the main series was happening. A lot of people became new mutants because of the outpour of mutagen in the city, and a lot of them turned into being mutants. And But yeah, this bird guy was pretending to be a human, and he's basically trying to tell them, you know what, welcome here. I know it's nice and welcome, everybody's being free and stuff, but it seems to be that's really run down. I think it's the future. I don't know how many turtles has left, if it's Raphael, because he's the one who's usually becomes the lurky Batman type of it, because he likes to
Yeah, yeah,
be all serious and always fight the crime. But that's how it's just a snippet of information. It looks very much like an armor everywhere. So could it be a
yeah,
turtle? What are they all about? I'm not sure.
yeah. It's a
It
pretty
just
cool
has,
idea. The art is really nice, actually.
yeah,
I kind of like it.
yeah. It starts as this feral pair.
Uh-huh.
As it says on the second page.
Yeah,
On
and
the
the
second
inside cover. Yeah,
one, on the second story called Splinter's Days Off, it's a very easy going. I think you can definitely have a reader with your kid. I think that's what
yeah.
they were going for. Teenage boys up to no good. Splinter is trying to meditate, pretend to meditate, or whatever he wanted to do, and decides to rush them away from this. Um, Rush them away from the well, from the lair, go outside, do your job. And he wanted to basically have a breather. If they go out and you just have a list,
Go
like he
outside and
starts,
play, basically.
yeah, and he was basically he had this time for himself, and just wanted to see what they fuss about with the teenage boys, what they up to. Kind of went in that realm, made a kind of hash a mess of it, a bit of it,
Hmm.
and it just had a little bit of fun, and that's the story basically. Really cool, but it's definitely really
Yeah,
readable with your child, like children. I think that's the
yeah,
whole point of it, because
totally.
since quite a few times with that Ronin stuff, the turtles became quite dark. But it's nice to see that they come up now. I don't know, it's just the feeling I had. Proper two stories written in one free comic book day, which is
Hmm.
absolutely fantastic. And whatever
I
one
mean,
you
they
picked up?
really seem to be like just putting so many titles out there to try to really encompass a nice wide
Yeah,
range of readership, right? Like they're really trying to cover all the bases,
yeah.
which is kind of cool to see, you know.
Hmm.
It's good to see they're going to continue.
Hmm. So, do you have any other one you picked up, or only those two?
Yeah, so then the ones I got from 204,
Mm-hmm.
Cannibal, which I guess is something streaming now on Hulu as well too. So it's a
I'm not
manga,
sure
and even
who's
the
who.
from a Blaze, even the free comic
Oh
book
yes.
is done backwards, just like regular manga, or
Oh wow.
backwards to us rather. So
Hmm.
that looked kind of interesting. I
Mm-hmm.
got an Asterix as well. Me and my daughter just read Lucky Luke together. We just finished it, and I
Yeah.
was telling her about Asterix and Obelix. And then I
Uh-huh.
saw this one, so this will be one that we read together.
This
Um,
this one was he didn't have any. He said
oh, you
this
didn't
is
have
the
any of
one
this one?
every single kid picked it up, and he said I didn't have that
Yeah,
many, and it seems to be
yeah.
every kid just picked that up. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, and that was on the kids' table,
yeah,
and he had
yeah,
quite a few of them. But yeah, it's just because he ordered so many.
yeah.
And then I got something called "Dying Inside." Again, just looked intriguing. I
Oh
liked the
wow.
cover. I don't know anything about it. The interior looks pretty great, nice colors and things.
Uh-huh. Who's
I know absolutely nothing about it though, so it just looked intriguing enough
who's
to give it
publishing?
a try. That one is Vault Comics, so that's a Vault. Yeah, so yeah, looks pretty
I
cool.
don't think he
And then
even
the
has
last
them.
one I got was the Worlds of James Tinian the
I
Fourth.
wasn't interested.
And again, just I know the name, I know some of his stuff. I haven't read
Mhm.
too much. It just seemed like a cool little, like a
Yeah,
sampler basically.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
nice to see like some different stories, but also see some of the cool art. Like that's some pretty nice looking stuff there. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, it just seemed like a good way to kind of sample some of these titles I've heard so much about. You know, obviously that's a huge title.
Mhm.
And what else do they have in here? Wind, I think they've got Wind sample in here as well too. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was all for the free ones there. And like I said, my daughter got a bunch, but hers are upstairs in her room. And
That's
she
cool.
just kind of grabbed a ton of ton of different things. And there's a couple of those she wants to check out. She's actually curious about this one. She's asked if she can read it after me. So we'll see. I'll have a flip through it first to see, obviously, how it will be for her, right? Because I have a feeling that it's pretty heavy and maybe too dark for her, but I don't know because I've never read any of that stuff. So,
well, something's killing children is quite,
yeah,
bloody.
quite violent.
No, yeah,
Yeah, I
well,
bet.
it's in the title.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing, right? When I flip through, it's like, I mean, I
But I'm
told her
not sure.
yesterday. I'm like, yeah,
I'm
for
not
sure, we can talk
sure
about it. But yeah,
because she's already, like above that. Like if she will be less than 10, maybe I would completely not even look at it or not
yeah,
even let her look at it. But maybe she's above 10. I don't know how far you guys go with that kind of things. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure if I would
yeah.
be.
She's starting to dip her toes into like some horror type of stuff, right? Like
Uh-huh.
there's a chapter book that she's reading. What the heck is it called? I remember if they're like ghost stories specific to Canada. They're like
Uh-huh.
true ghost stories kind of thing. So
Oh.
she's really Haunted Canada is what it's called. Haunted Canada. A couple
Oh.
of her friends have read it, so she was dipping her toes. So I feel like
Oh.
she's dipping her toes into like stuff that's a little more scary, So yeah.
Yeah, because they're probably daring her to do so, and because they did it,
Yeah,
so
yeah, all the other
they have
kids, yeah.
something in common to talk about, and then you want to
Yeah.
do the same thing what they do. Yeah,
Well, and one
yeah.
of her friends is really into Goosebumps. So, like
Oh,
they're at that age, right, where that stuff is
okay.
really becoming more appealing.
Hmm. Hmm. Have you ever been interested in that new phase of Ghostbusters? Talking about, you just mentioned Goosebumps, but
I'm curious to see them. We haven't seen any of the new stuff, but we
me
saw the
neither.
trailer for the newest one recently, and it looked good. I mean, I'm not a I was I enjoyed Ghostbusters when it first came out. I'm not a hardcore fan of it though, so it's not really been top of my mind to check it out. But apparently they're pretty entertaining from what I hear.
Yeah, oh, cool. I mean, it's I don't know if I there's that has a more horror element to them, so it's more
Yeah.
scarier than what you saw as original Ghostbusters were.
Hmm.
I mean, when I was watching it, maybe I felt a little bit more, but at parts because of the slimy stuff, it became really hilarious, and you couldn't take that
Hmm.
really serious note afterwards.
Yeah.
So that guy, I forgot the name, but
Slimer and the ooze and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I'll show you a couple of the standouts of Free Comic Book Day, and then you
Hmm.
can just take over the chat. I
Sure.
have some couple of like I have you picked up. I have only one book in the pull list. You mentioned one. Is it Kaya you're talking about?
Kaya. No, it wasn't. I didn't know there was a new Kaya out. Shit. They
Oh
didn't put it
shit!
in my box. They didn't put it in my pull box.
Number 18.
Fucking
It
guys.
came out.
Well,
Yeah.
fuck. I got like
Oh
two books on my pull list at that shop, and that's one of them. That's a
yeah.
pain in the ass. No, I had no idea that it came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. I knew I should have mentioned because I'm
Let's
not
see the
sure if
cover.
I
Let's see it.
yeah. Because I mean I haven't, as I say, I haven't read that my new comic book, so this would be one of them I
Well,
would pull.
shit. Yeah.
So I'll keep it aside. I mean, we need to definitely talk it together when you both
Yeah.
read this. I actually much more enjoy it when we have like what kind of feelings we both have. There's
Yeah.
an end to it, kind of in a way, not really, but it's kind of, it feels like it's not end. I mean, story arc wise end
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
like it, but so yeah, I'm never I'm leaving that aside now, so I don't want to
Oh, I'm
mention it
curious to read that. Wow, that
because I
really
thought
sucks.
maybe I should have
To do that.
mentioned it, but I forgot, like because I was in the road trip, and I thought you
Yeah.
definitely, because you would be going to Free Comic Book Day, so I thought maybe it came out this
Yeah.
week,
Yeah.
so I thought you would probably. It's a pity that they didn't do
That
the
that
job.
shop that shop sometimes puts stuff in my box too that I didn't ask for, and they do it
Oh,
just because they think you might be interested in it. So it's an
mm.
extra pisser when it's like, well, something I actually had on my pull list you missed, and you're giving me this shit that I don't actually want. You know what I mean? Like trying to sell me
That
on books I
sucks.
don't want, and you've
That
missed the book
sucks.
that I actually want. Yeah, that's a bit of a
Hmm.
pisser because it's a bit of a
Well,
drive to this shop too, so it's not very close.
so
I mean, it's not 2 hours away like yours is, but yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
oh
Oh fuck.
really?
God damn it.
Well, tell me, let me know. I can email I mean, I
Yeah.
can send you through the UK if it needs
Yeah,
to.
no, I mean I've got a few shops and I'm sure I can find an issue, but it's
I
like
didn't.
when
Wow,
that
that's
shit starts
interesting.
happening, it's like, ah fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
just kidding. Oh, you're a bastard. I'm calling your lawyers.
Sue
Calling
for
your lawyers, Gore. I've got them on speed dial.
that's funny.
Turning them
It's really
against you.
good man. But a couple of standouts for me, at least it was of the Free Common Good Day.
Yep.
So I don't know if
Oh,
this came out or this year, or because I didn't see it on the list. Maybe you just had extras. You guys tell me, because
yeah.
sometimes I kind of get lost. But this is hilarious.
I didn't see
It's
that one.
all the spoof stories of superheroes when it
That's
comes to
cool.
and it has paper, which is absolutely
Amazing.
fantastic. Uh, and it has all sort of like a Batman, mad look at the Batman, how Batman, what he's gonna do is really cool. Oh, do you want me? I'll put it back so you can actually see a
Yep.
bit better. Uh, um, quite moments of really funny, like Batman funnies. So it's like almost looks like a Peanuts type of it. And then you have I don't remember don't they write Carrie Callan, writer and an artist in this ones. And they
Hmm.
had some funny scenes. What comic scene would like to see when Superman comes to help somebody, they push him aside, and you're like, "What the hell happened?" You say. So it's funny, like it's nothing takes themselves seriously. Garfield creator look like about Joker and saying that he's having his
Yeah.
gun, and he says bang, and this hyena is not really impressed, but until his farts sign comes out from his ass. Then then you have Harley Quinn Penis thing sessions when he comes into, like they have that session where, like help you mentally, and he comes to help, like for Harley Quinn to ask a question, and
Right.
instead he steals
Yep.
money, and she's like, that's why I don't never have a friends. And then this is kind of dark when the Joker and Harley Quinn goes into the house and say, "Oh, there's the lawn hasn't been mowed, the dishes hasn't been washed," and the owners basically are dead, and they say, "I'm glad this is in our house." So that
Yeah.
kind of morbid kind of joke of it, dark humor. Then this is like full on story. It's bring your sidekick to the workday, where superheroes
Amazing.
comes in with his sidekicks, and Superman, who's basically asked them to come in, forgets about it. Is it today? And then you have every kid being annoying, like a Wonder Woman's sidekick. And what's her name? I knew her name. Now I'm blanking. Um, I forgot her name. Anyway, sidekick of Wonder Woman basically draws her with big eyebrows, and she's like laughing, and he's like, "Oh, that's not really funny," and she basically crumples the page. Or how Superman asks about talks to Flash, and he says no, an asshat, no asshat, but Flash calls Superman asshat all the time, like Batman lurking in the shadows all the time, and he's like, "Come on to the table, everybody's sitting here." He's like, "No, I'm okay here. It just feels most comfortable." Or Robin says he's gassy a lot. That's why he's in the corner. And then you have like they all leave, and kaboom comes happens, and Jokers with sidekicks, and we shouldn't have gone for ice cream because they basically late, and they were just destroying the party because they wanted to go. It's just hilarious. It's a thing. I highly recommend this. There's lots of
So
stories.
good.
I might look at Superman as well. There is like a lot, honestly. It's really quite cool, and seeing that I really like um Calvin stories
Calvin and
and
Hobbes. Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes, like Shazam, and he didn't like,
Side.
but the way he said that Shazam, he'd be like a child slash adult, and it's like, whoops, what's happening in here? So it's very hilarious stuff. Quite a few things to read. And when Black Adam joins Justice Society, and they start making fun of him. What's your name? Why your name is like this? And then aren't you supposed to be a bad guy? And he's like, no, I'm not the bad guy. And, like I'm what he says? Um, what he said? I'm anti-hero. And he's like, but this is just like you basically just a bad guy. And he's like, no, and he got really pissed off. Then of course there's a bit of a political satire with all like Bush admiralty in works and stuff like that. I didn't like that much. And then I think one of the standouts for me was, this is kind of hilarious. It's Batman hiding his mustache. It's like, oh, that's funny, Bruce. So he's being like a child. But then, as I said, there's a story. Oh, there you go. What if Batman actually be 85? And it's really quite a, yeah, like it's just a small story about him being really aged, and basically in him and Joker is going to have a chess action, and they're having a talk conversation with each other. Alfred is in the jar, and his only head available to talk to, because he's that old and stuff like that. So it's really good. I highly, if you can find it, this is really
It
cool.
look,
This is really
yeah,
funny.
that looks fantastic. I don't remember seeing it. I'll have to double check
I
though.
don't
That
know.
looks really good.
Yeah, I don't know why maybe it was previous years. I don't know, because
Right.
I don't know if I've seen it on the list. Um, for people who wants to sample a bit more of this Energon universe, this is really cool. There's three little stories. It's one about Transformers, another one is Void Rivals, and another one is GI Joe. Kind of, I not really in that much got a kick out of Transformers one more Void Rivals and GI Joe got intriguing because I've not read them because they say in the universe, but I didn't want to go jump into more books when I should, kind of thing. Transformers were something more intriguing for me, but I think GI Joe was the most standout story for me because Baroness got involved, and I really like her as a female GI Joe bad guy,
Hmm.
isn't she? Yeah. So that's the story here. And basically, Duke apparently needs to get the team together. He's looking for the right people to do. We talk about Baroness, and Baroness is on hiding because somehow she escaped, as I think. And she's been basically everybody's been chasing her because she's a bad guy. This is like crazy scene of the splash page, which is absolutely fantastic.
Hmm.
Why I enjoyed it, it just had this taste for GI Joe. How I remember from more like have never read comic book, but it felt really kind of easy reading. Like nothing overly complicated. They're just looking for a team member. Duke comes in to help her because somebody's else chasing. To what Duke doesn't realize behind it is that his own boss is the one who's basically also chasing her to be creating another team. So it's kind of like political, kind of like a part of it, or mystery part of it. I really enjoyed, and art wasn't bad. But that's her new outfit. Kind of looks
Hmm.
crazy, but she has like Captain America vibe to it because of a star, but she's
Yeah,
not really
absolutely.
dressed. Anyway, it's really cool. Another one is Void Rivals with Kirkman's writing. It starts with this. I wasn't sure what's happening. Apparently, somebody is looking for somebody, and they're looking for specific um, coordinates because they've been lost a lot in a lot. And it's Kirkman's writing. So I actually looked it up in my library. I'm gonna get a first volume when it's gonna be available. So I already pre-ordered it, and also it helps that they have a bit more information. So this is the free stories for you to be understanding what will be in the future for Transformers, Void Rivals, and GI Joe. So it's kind of a snippet, like almost like a trailer to understand what's happening there. Really cool, but it's a good way to understanding where the creators wants to take the story for. But apparently, Megatron is lost in space. They are being on the lookout for him. This is the first time a revelation. So somebody who's probably reading this universe before, or I don't know what happened, because as I say, I just sampled from the beginning of the new era. And he was at a loss, and now he's going to be answers going to be given to people who's like really into Transformers, I guess. Also, they on the back of the page they say that they are astounded by the success this universe got hold of, and how Transformers, it's like Word Rivals came out really well. They sold out really nice. Everybody's selling really good things. G.I. Joe once again, but Transformers basically kicked everybody's ass. Like it's the seventh or eighth printing of number one issue of Transformers.
Oh
Would you
wow.
believe?
Wow.
Yeah. So they are being very kind of like popular these days for sure, and that's really successful for Skybound Kirkman's once again.
Mm.
little money making machines. I guess they made it on the right time, and seems to be got the right creators to people get excited about this John universe.
Mm.
And stand out of the free comic book day. And before I say hello to Donald
Donald
Rex,
Rex, look at this guy. Hello.
yeah, this.
Oh yeah.
So I always pick it up. There's also it's the full-on story for Hellboy, which I wasn't expecting that. But I think I heard that he's actually going to do more. Hellboy now is coming back.
Mm.
There will be more stories coming out. And this Hellboy story, I just really liked. It's just exactly what your Hellboy feel for it's supposed to be like. So the story called The Fortune Teller. And do you hear me? Can you see me? Did I disappear?
No,
Okay.
you're still there.
Okay, Mike Mignola and Mark Laszlo on art. So Mark Laszlo's art is, like they always gonna be the same. Dave Stewart and colors is just like the bomb. So it starts of the Hellboy is looking for a female. He goes into this fortune teller's house or whatever place she's working at, looking for her, looking for all the houses where this female disappeared because apparently she was the last one seen in that place. And he's talking to this guy who is apparently working with the fortune teller. He's kind of saying to him like, "I'm not sure really what's like you can't really talk." And he's telling the story about this missing lady, but they found the body. But instead of 22-year-old girl Miss Pound, they found a 100-year-old lady's body instead. And then it's a mystery. They weren't trying to find out. It's the last stop for him to go into. And the guy keep on like kind of sweating, starting to like not saying too much stories about anything. Hellboy's kind of get angry, and then suddenly you see the voice, and she's like, "No, I'm kind of." Fortune teller comes out of this curtains and like, "No, I'm going to talk to you," because she's kind of like, like feel like she's not afraid of anything, kind of thing. And she kind of looks crazy. She has this glass, and she starts asking him questions, and then she attacks him. And to my surprise, he kind of like gets startled by it, and she manages to overtake him, put the glass to his chest, and she's starting seeing his everything what happened to Hellboy, how he came to be, who he's supposed to belong to, why he's actually in existence. It kind of gives you a great history of what Hellboy have been up to until
That's
this
cool.
kind of moment when you have that how he was supposed to be part of Ragnarok, how he was supposed to be a tool to succession or whatever, because the boy from the hell. Oh my god,
Mm.
oh, did I
No,
disappear
you're
just
still
for a
there.
second?
You're still
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah, you're
My
good.
okay, cool. Anyway, so it's really good. So I know it's the way it ends. It's quite intriguing. I'm not going to show too much afterwards, but artwork great. The story one is great, and I can't see myself anymore.
Yeah, you're getting choppy.
Anyway,
I can hear you, but your image keeps kind of freezing up.
oh yeah, my internet acting up. Oh, I can't even. Can I?
Can you hear me?
What?
Yeah, your
I
image
can't. I
is
can't
frozen.
even
I can
exit
still. Oh,
myself.
you're back now. Yeah, we can still hear you when you're frozen.
Oh,
Oh, now you're gone. Oh, now you're back.
what? There you go. There
There
you
you.
go.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, my internet is a bit kind of going crazy. Yeah, you have been
Mm.
freezing. There you go. I figured as much. Yeah. So
That
this
looks
is
cool.
the
That looks
on the best
amazing.
comic book day thing. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, this one is one of the best. Oh, come on, internet, just give me a break.
Do you want to try
Just acting
jumping
up.
out and jumping back in again?
No, it's just an internet.
Okay.
It just I don't know. Sometimes it just goes funny lately.
Mhm.
It seems to be okay, but you never know. And there's another story in this one with Stranger Things, but I'm not into
Oh yeah.
Stranger Things whatsoever. Some people likes if they do, they will be able to enjoy this one. It's nice. It's nice art. I really
Hmm.
like that one. It's Jonathan Case as an artwork. I kind of heard the name, but I'm not sure who it is.
Hmm.
So for Stranger Things. Um, oh, now I can't see you. So
Uh-oh. I
uh,
can see you and hear you.
that basically. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is basically the best one for me. I really, I think this is the standout free comic book day. I mean, I'm a Hellboy fan, so of course I will be intrigued by it, more, because
Yeah.
I just like the way it's somehow the reward from the beginning to the end of the Hellboy mystery.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
cool that he's going to be doing
Okay.
more. I thought he was
Wow, I'm proper
kind of
going
done.
disappearing.
Oh yeah, there's a
Yeah,
huge lag
I
now
think he
too.
kind of has the maybe just. Uh-huh. Lovely.
Maybe
Anyway,
you should try jumping out and jumping back
things are
in.
not working for me.
Yeah, it's really getting choppy. Oh, maybe that's what she did. Or she dropped away. So when I went to the 204, like I said, they also had a sale too, so I ended up picking up two back issues. Um, one a Strange Tales, uh, one that I was missing, slowly but surely kind of chipping away at this. This one was a lot of fun to read. I won't open it up and show you. It's pretty self-explanatory. The Fantastic Four story was honestly pretty fun, or the Thing and Human Torch. Anyway, the other Fantastic Four kind of made a brief appearance. But this is what the heck is this guy's name again? The Mad Thinker. So it was a pretty entertaining story, and of course, the Doctor Strange was great. It's always good. This is still Ditko era, obviously, and some really amazing panels. I am the star. That's true. Finally, I've reclaimed my throne. And then I don't have many of these, but I love these old reprint books. And again, we've talked about it in the past. This was $8 with the 25% off. So like $6. It has a Strange Tales in there. It's got a Tales to Astonish, Journey into Mystery, and Amazing Spider-Man. I haven't read this one yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. I've only got, I think, 2 or 3 other of these early Marvel Tales books, but they're a blast. And I think one of the things that's so intriguing about them is that this is stuff that's being reprinted early on. So what's the year on this one? The year on this reprint is 1967.
I'm back, by the way.
Oh,
Hopefully.
you're back. Okay, I can hear you now.
Uh-huh.
I think it's 1967. So you're getting some real nice samples. Again, it's like it's printed on the same paper as the originals. It has that good old kind of smell to it. So it really feels like you're getting a cheap kind of sample of looking into some of these early issues. I love seeing it in this format. I love seeing it on the yellowed paper. I love seeing it on the books that kind of have that aroma as soon as you open them up. I'm not as big of a fan of the kind of crisp white paper reprints. It's just not for me personally. For me, this is part of the experience. I like seeing the artwork like this, even if it is a little faded and things at times. But this one, I'm actually really looking forward to digging into as well too. Even though they're not characters that I normally would follow, um,
Hmm.
they're just really fun. And again, when it was a 25% off, it makes it easier to buy something like that. So that was a cool pickup. The one that I did read, which was from my pull list, was the final Godzilla War for Humanity. This is number 5 of the IDW. This is an Andrew McLean cover there as well, too, the guy who did Headlopper and who's also the writer for this series. And I mean, I think when I've talked about it before, it's just a fun series. Is it doing anything mind-blowing with the characters? Not really, but the art is so much fun. The coloring is so great. There's your creators there: Jake Smith, Valentina Pinto, Russ Wooten. Color flats by Rick Mack. So Yeah, the cover is really nice on this one. That Andrew McLean one is pretty fun. And then also that back cover. I don't know if you've seen the ads for this yet, Russ. Teenage Mutant Ninja
No.
Turtles Black, White, and Green. That might be kind of fun to dig into as well. I don't
Oh
know.
my
Does it say
god.
creative? Yeah. So there's some Declan Shalvey and Paulina something or other there. So issue one out
Show.
this May. So it was a fun wrap up. You know, the mother and daughter kind of bonding takes place. You know, it's all about that kind of generational kind of bond, and then kind of the usual of communicating with Godzilla. Um, really nice ending, but I love the art in this series. That's been the standout from this whole thing. Seeing some of those creature works out at the end. Okay, it comes out next week. Everything works out
Mhm.
the end as it should. And then at the back, you also get a couple of ads for, well, first of all, you get the other covers, which is kind of nice. This is one of those rare books that only has 3 covers instead of like 16. That one, that retailer incentive one, looks pretty fun.
Oof.
It's the artist on that. Leonardo Gonzalez. That's the retail incentive cover. And the
Mhm.
other ad they have is for Godzilla 70th anniversary.
Oof.
7 decades with the King of Monsters calls for a celebration, a gigantic anthology of tales from 1954 until now. So I'll probably end up picking that one up. I'm sure it's going to have a whole bunch of artists. I'm hoping they've attracted some people with a little more style, because sometimes with the Godzilla books, there's a bunch of them that I don't pick up because the interiors just don't really appeal to
Mhm.
me art wise. Um,
Mm.
so I'm hopeful for that one. I think that comes out right away. But yeah, this is worth it if you're curious. Picking it up in like a trade, I think it's worth it. It was really fun, and I think this is also one you can read with kids too. Like for those of you who have kids, it's
Who's
not
the
that intense. It's not that scary.
so Jeff is Jeff Smith is on art?
It just came out. Yeah, this is the last issue now, so that's it. There's no more than this. Just a 5-issue miniseries. So the trade, I'm assuming, is coming out right away, within the
Okay.
next couple of months, I imagine. Yeah.
And sorry, the artist name?
Oh, the artist's name, Jake Smith.
Oh,
Artwork
okay.
by Jake Smith and colors by Valentina Pinto.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's the credits there.
Okay, cool. I'm not have you heard of Jake Smith or is another
I haven't.
Smith?
No, first time I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Maybe Damien knows in the chat what else he's done. I don't remember if that's a book that Damien was picking up as well.
Oh. I really like the art. I really like how involved the all of the panels are. It's kind of rare
Yeah,
sight
it's nice.
to
It's nice and cartoony and nice and like they're kind of short and squat kind of characters, but it has a real good blend of an anime-ish type of feel. And then there's some nice real
Mhm.
forced perspective kind of scenes as well too. So yeah, it's beautiful to look through. It's been a really fun book to kind of flip through every month or so. I think this one was a bit delayed though. I feel like it's been a little longer between issue 4 and
Mhm.
5, but that could just be my memory.
Do you like the Godzilla more black and white or color?
The books I like both, honestly.
Mhm.
Because there's been, I mean, I'm trying to think of if there's any, like, I don't know if there's been any black and white comics that I've read for Godzilla stuff. Um,
Mhm.
but as far as the movies, I like them both.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have a preference. Like the early black and white stuff, obviously is pretty incredible. That first movie, especially, is
Mhm.
groundbreaking. But as far as the comics, I have no preference. Yeah, either or.
Mm. And what's his name? Oh my god, I'm blanking his name now. James Stokos. So is he? Do you think he's the best on Godzilla?
He's pretty damn good, I gotta say. But that's just because I really like his art, though.
Yeah,
I'm just a
yeah.
huge fan of his art. That anything
Oh.
that he does, I feel like gets me a little extra excited. But honestly, that Damien and I were reading the Godzilla and Hell, and they had different creative teams for
Mhm.
each issue. That was a pretty
Yeah, the best one.
outstanding miniseries from my memory.
Mhm.
Because of that, there were some really great artists involved in that miniseries. And it was also nice to have something where it was just this kind of issue to issue bit of a surprise as to part of what the creative team was going to be like. So that's a real standout in my memory as well.
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
nice. I don't. I haven't. I think I only sampled because I have that, like, the art of James Stoffer. So I
Hmm.
have more Godzilla in there to enjoy. I have
Ah,
never thought.
uh-huh.
I probably have never had read any of comic based stories for Godzilla because
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the movies. There was another movie with Godzilla and Kong. Did you watch that?
Yeah, that's the new stuff. I mean, I'll see it eventually. I was saying
Yeah.
that now that they've done Godzilla minus one, because for the longest time I loved the American Godzilla stuff. And that was
Hmm.
because they had a little bit more of a budget. It was nice to see kind of like
Hmm.
the CG elements. It was nice to see that stuff. And also I was just jonesing for kind of, the one thing that I love about the Godzilla movies in
Hmm.
classically was like the destruction of the city and stuff. That's always really fun. And then Godzilla minus one comes along and kind of blows everything out of the water, and you have these now destructive elements where it's like it's actually really sad. It's actually kind of upsetting seeing it. It's not like a
Oh, wow.
thrill of going to a movie. It's actually like, holy fuck, that's actually pretty dark. And it just ramps up the level of the storytelling that now I see the trailer for the Godzilla Kong movie. I have zero interest in seeing it. It looks like an absolute piece of shit. And that's 100% due to I know that they can do something phenomenal. So now why would I settle for less is where I'm kind of at with it. But before I watched all that stuff, I watched all the American stuff. I watched anything. I'll watch anything with Godzilla in it. But at this point, now I'm
Mhm.
definitely more going to be more picky going forward as to what I go to see, because I don't think I'll be going to the theater to see that Godzilla Kong one. The trailer looks just awful. It looks horrible.
I have, like I say, I have not watched Godzilla minus one yet, so I'm looking forward to. But now I'm kind of more intrigued now, since you're more commenting about it, because
Mhm.
honestly, I always like the not distraction part, but it's just pure sheer of big two giant things I like at each other.
Mhm.
Like the last time, I
Totally.
think, because there was a movie before this one with Godzilla, yeah, and the Kong, yes, because the Kong
That's right.
was
Yep. Yeah.
because they came basically to take him in order to defeat it because they didn't have any kind of weapons. I know because it kind of evolved, isn't it? That what it was?
Yeah,
Because
they
it
did
was
a God.
created
It's
kind
this
of
whole
a,
monster verse thing that they're doing. So
yeah,
they had a Godzilla standalone movie. They had a
yeah,
King Kong standalone movie. Then they
yeah,
had Godzilla versus Kong, kind of the first one, and now they have this
yeah,
one. They had a
yeah,
TV series of the monster verse stuff, and I didn't watch any of
yeah.
that either. So they're kind of really building this whole mythology around it. And but
Mhm,
again, it's when you don't have anything else, you're more willing to watch whatever. But now that there's like things like Shin Godzilla, I think is a fantastic movie as well too. That's within the last couple of years.
mhm,
With Shin Godzilla and Godzilla minus one out there, it's really
mhm.
hard to settle for anything else now. He
I think
spoilt
it.
it by doing actual quality. And it's also one of those things I think I've said before, like because I've come to those movies with a certain expectation of like it's just going to be fun, it's going to
Mhm,
be a little campy, it's going to be a little this.
mhm,
Yes, there's going to be a little bit of a story, but it's more about the fun seeing the monsters. It's like then you have someone who's actually a good writer, who's actually able to write really good human characters. They have these
mhm.
really fantastic actors in those roles. It brings this whole other dimension to it where it's like you have no right to make me feel like this for a giant monster movie. You know what I mean? It's impressive what can be done when you have some quality behind it, right? And you actually have people who have ideas,
Yeah.
and are looking to kind of convey an idea, right? So yeah,
Mm. They got Oscar recognition, isn't it? The minus
sure
one.
as hell did. Yeah, they did the first
Oh,
time in Godzilla's history. They won an award. Yeah,
which is actually fantastic to even see.
pretty amazing.
Especially, like Asian, there's always been that divide between Western movies and then Asian culture, and
Hmm.
what appeals to them, and who is acting where and who gets more opportunities, and then it doesn't translate really well because of different cultures and the way what they
Right.
see and all that stuff. So it's actually quite nice that it comes into this. It's a rare thing, unfortunately.
And I mean, honestly, like for that stuff, because I don't really care too much about awards and things like that. I think that whole
Yeah,
thing is
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of silly. But the one thing that I will say about it, though, is having them win that award definitely makes it a little easier for that team to kind of get something else, whether it's a
Yes,
Godzilla movie or not. It doesn't
yeah,
even matter. They can now tout that they're these Oscar award winning creators, and it'll be
Oh
easier
yeah.
for them to get money for their next project. And I'm super curious to see if that team, first of all, sticks together, and if
Mhm.
so, what they end up doing, even if it's well outside of the franchise. I think would be
Mhm.
fantastic. I'm really, really curious.
Mm. So I wanted to mention this is my last thing because, as I said, I read all those free comic stuff and the Kaya, but you don't have Kaya, so I don't want to spoil and talk
Yeah,
about it.
fuckers.
But I
Give
have
those
to
guys shit next to
mention
you.
this because it was at the end of the day an end of the era, and let's hope my internet gonna work when I speak because it seems to be all fine when you do.
Yeah, right.
But
Oh yeah.
this came the last came out.
Yeah. I got it here somewhere.
Yeah. This appeared in one of the Gazelle famous houses.
Killed off. Hilarious.
Anyway, so I have to mention this. So this is the end of the era for me as a happy collector who had 100 odd issues of some turtle comic book, which is kind of an odd.
Hmm.
And I'm really liking the numbers. I was thinking, and they're gonna continue with whatever, but it seems to be because of the whole change of creating teams and artists involved, they had to go to number one, which is fine. But this is kind of hectic. $10 price tagged comic is really thick. There's lots of things
Hmm.
happening inside. Quite a bit of ads as well, which is kind of annoying. I guess they had to pay dues, but no, I mean conventional prices. But I have not sure, like the endings. I never thought or seen the end to it. I felt that the story, because I was reading it, of course, only on the main title, as you can see why I drew that. So if people haven't seen it, I drew this one.
Hmm.
Wait, I actually made the post video of it. Of course, on my channel you can actually see that. That's the one. That's the one. That's me drawing. It's kind of
It's awesome.
similarly. Anyway, but I'm not sure how satisfied I was to the end. It doesn't, because it didn't feel like an ending, because there's also, they're gonna come up number one with new creators, but I don't know how much they're gonna get hashed out. Um, it's really cool to kind of have that kind of feeling like after reading so long, maybe because it's kind of like, okay, let's go maybe give it a bit more fresh. It kind of felt like when they were jumping time, that's where I started to worry, because jumping time storylines never pans out really well. I'm was kind of still confused in all of it, what's happening in here. The sacrificial part of the character who's disappeared now, the so Venus was a bit of a spoiler alert, but Venus has sacrificed herself for a good cause, in order to one of the turtle, like the turtles being kind of like all of all. I really like that Splinter coming back, the scenes when they went back, and this is I really like that, because we haven't seen him in the comic book for a really long time, so several years.
Hmm.
So seeing them jumping back in time when before they even became what they were, and then the aquarium scene and all that stuff, which you basically gonna see that in issue number one if you go collected editions. But overall story, it kind of had some sort of kind of the family gathered back again, it seems to be, even though there's lots of things saying that they all want to do their own thing, and they want to basically branch out, do their own thing, be their own themselves, because Splinter is not there. They're not really getting along that much. Most of the time, they're bickering around like the brothers they always do, and they kind of wanted to be themselves and show what they truth of. So I guess get kind of tired of doing the same thing all the time and monitoring things. Life has changed quite dramatically for them because of more mutants came to be like humans became more the population became so much higher and became a norm. So they decided because of that they are able to kind of branch out for this when they come out with the paper, uh, uh, sisters and brothers, or sons and daughters of our character. I was like, it's not really kind of weirdly put, the way the powers were kind of like mangled because their
Hmm.
drawings came into fruition, which is kind of was weird part because I don't remember when it was mentioned. But a lot of thing if, of it was intriguing enough for me to see. So I kind of, as what it was, I'm glad everything panned out. They realized mistakes they were doing, the magic part, the what they have. It's all also still kind of confusing for me as a fan because I just want them to be the ninjas we knew about. Also, one of my most favorite uh, mutants, the girl who actually liked being a turtle,
Mm,
she has been brought back to being human because of this event of this guy who came basically was working for Armagon, and they basically took a DNA from the mutant, extracted it completely, and she became who she was before as a child. But she was feeling like a part of the family because I think she's a like child without home. So there are lots of things happening in the storyline which were really cool. I was like intrigued how the DNA was sequenced out of it. They all had all the colors of the turtles, which was interesting. Even the sprinters DNA was there, so they was basically putting everything together. And of course we have ninja notes, which is was very interesting to see what Jamie as Ritual say, and he basically tell us about the future will be, kind of who's going to be not who's going to be working, but he wanted to celebrate the creative team to putting this long amount of series, which is not always happens to everybody. But of course with turtles it helps that they have this such a wide audience who's really
mhm.
loving the stories. So he's basically celebrating all the creators, how many people had to be involved in order to create this. In generally, this one issue had Vincenzo Federici, Ferro Pe, again that guy, Dan Duncan, and Sophie Campbell. So four artists, two writers. So Sophie Campbell's Hurrah has ended as well with Turtles. So she came in through like 5 years ago, I think, and then she finished it all. So it was really cool, interesting to see, kind of bittersweet. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mhm. Yeah.
they kind of, I think they're gonna go scale down. I think for Jason Aaron, I think they're gonna kind of scratch back to like only maybe five
Oh,
of
really?
them.
You think so? Yeah,
I
right.
have a feeling they're gonna start going backwards, kind of thing at the beginning. From, but I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. But it depends
Yeah.
what the Aaron wants to, what kind of story he's gonna tell. Maybe it's gonna be absolutely surprising, and I'm looking forward to. Basically, I'm just double guessing. But the way it feels with
Yeah.
this, because they created so many diverse characters in this universe, you can branch out quite in few areas, but of course
Yeah.
still continue to our your main characters. Oh, you got it as well, Dave.
I did. I grabbed it as
You
well too.
nice cover you picked up, man.
I got this one. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
That's
I
really
figured
cool.
if I'm gonna spend this much money on a book, I may as well get one of the covers that I like because it was fucking pricey. But I couldn't resist. I mean, it seems like you said, it seems like this is an
Mhm.
iconic kind of thing. So I figured I should pick something up just to at least get
Yeah,
a taste of it before the
yeah,
Jason Aaron stuff. And that's kind of my
yeah,
worry. Like, I felt really lost because I haven't read the 149 issues
yeah,
before this.
yeah.
And I'm never a fan really of time jump stuff because
Oof.
it feels too easy to kind of like, oh, we're doing this and we can fix this and we can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Overall, like it was enjoyable enough for sure. And it just
Mhm.
feels like I'm excited for Jason Aaron stuff, but I'm also a
Yeah,
little nervous because it feels like there's such an expanse that's at his fingertips.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
I'm a little nervous to see where it's going to go. I trust him as a writer and I'm still going to check it out for sure. But
yeah.
it just feels like they've created this it really feels like they're trying to create, you know, these creators are they're trying to leave these characters in a place that they become this enormous thing. Like they become like a
Mhm.
DC or a Marvel just in
Yes.
themselves as
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
TMNT, right? Like it's very expansive, and we're gonna leave this for the generation after us, kind of thing. It has that kind of feel to it, which again, I think that adds to the bittersweetness, right? Like it's an end of an
Yeah.
era, it's an end of
Mhm.
of what the comics were, and it's it's entering a new phase, and every new phase is further and further away from the originals, right? So
So when they came out with this IW run,
Yeah.
I think the whole plan was as well to refresh the universe, to go back on and get people again excited about the turtles and get them
Hmm.
going. And the more they wrote, the more it was more popular going. And I think I still believe, for me as a like a fan of this run, particularly the first 100 issues is still very strong because they had more cohesion in the storyline. From
Mm-hmm.
100 onwards, it had more because of the universe, like you say. They started bright, like putting so much more characters out there because all the incidents and happening were more mutants, and like being different. And I think they were trying to portray that storyline, that we what we have with all this kind of all walks of life people can happen, and it kind of turtles kind of working on that point in storyline, that everybody can be accepted and how we were accepted in Manhattan. And it became a norm for being, like who you were, because turtles before were hiding in sewers all the time because everybody
Hmm.
was afraid of them and running away from it. So I think they wanted to kind of be present with the whole world as well in the same way, kind of thing. Turtles can walk any kind of storyline, and that's why it became so big, because they tried to tell so many storylines and be relevant, I think. But in some
Hmm.
ways it worked, in some ways it didn't work. I like all the characters, to be honest. I like additional female turtle. I think she never made it different. But now, like, you can clearly see Jason's Aaron start will be uh yeah, that's why I'm saying, well, that's why I'm Jenica. I don't know if Jason Aaron gonna include her anymore. That would be
Mm.
quite disappointing, because I think she's quite a fan favorite in well, like the way she was written. Kind of, she like really was not present much in this storyline, at least in the main title, which was kind of interesting. Maybe that's the whole point. I don't know what's gonna be there, because I don't know what their intention will be, because so far what we see advertised, she's not there. You only have
Mm.
main four boys.
Hmm.
Is it going to be once again like what they did with this series, that they're going to kind of like try to make it more entertaining once again to gain
Right.
more audience?
But he's also doing that. Um, it's not just the four though, is it? It's also this alpha or whatever it is, right? What's
But
that other one
you,
called?
yeah, this one. So this one is going to be, this
Yeah.
is the prelude. So we're going to have to pick this up, because this
Yeah.
is, it says in here that Jason Saren's beginning of what his intent will be for the storyline.
Right. 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 Okay. So it'll just be kind of like maybe a
Yeah.
one shot kind of thing where it'll kind of set the stage. Okay, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also have this page, the same page we had
Yeah.
of him coming back to his brothers, and she's being,
Love that.
yeah. So, and it says they're alpha, right at the end. So
Yeah.
I think we will be having a bit more understanding where the Jason Aaron's turtles will be at after reading this, I presume,
Hmm.
or at least I hope it will be, because that's how they advertise it. And it
Hmm.
seems to be Jason Aaron and Chris Burnham. It seems to be more like the main creative team. Like, I mean, artist wise, it seems Chris Burnham's more there. When it's gonna come out, this four issues, or I don't know, yeah, it says four issues, and you have different artists. I think it's just for you to get like what we had, the from the older series, you had four specials as well, about to tell you a
Right.
story about
Yeah.
each turtle. So,
Yeah.
as I say, it's really intriguing. It's kind of like sour taste in my mouth, because I really liked going for this. I was thinking, how far can we go with this? But I
Uh-huh.
guess 150th issue was the last. And let's see how, as I'm curious with, I was like thinking, okay, so July, if you would think they would take a break for turtles for 2 months and just continue after from July, but it seems to be no, they're gonna come out with this one, like you say, black, green, and white. This month
Hmm.
they're probably coming out with that alpha thing before. So definitely gonna make you sure we don't forget about the turtles until the turtles with
Yeah.
Jason Aaron is gonna come out. So yeah, it's just, it was nice to see Kevin Eastman's name there as a writer, because at the end of the day, he's an original creator. Always exciting, because he understands them fully, to a point of, and he always also kind of interesting to see that he let Sophie Campbell do quite a lot, to be honest. Apparently she took quite a big thing of it. She had this idea of including all other more female based characters, it seems to be, and she just put that throughout. But yeah, we'll see what Jason Aaron has to say. But as a fan,
Mhm.
so sad. Because I was like, oh cool, look at me. I have this like, because it's a rare thing to have.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you have those Marvels, and they say, oh, continuation number, that tiny little thing you have. This didn't. This just went for it, like. But of course, it's much easier to have that number when you have like quite a huge following. Okay, you can't do that anymore. How excited people are! Like, I wonder, like, as an example, just because it's here, I wonder how long this is gonna go. Like,
Mhm.
sure, it's never gonna go 150 issues. You clearly know that. Rick
Yeah.
Remender
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
won't
Yeah.
do so. But it's kind of
Yeah.
rare thing to have now, where
Yeah.
an ongoing series for this long to be still out, because it's so busy. When you see the
Mhm.
Walton comic book shop of comic books there as a choice, it's a like forest, and you just like, which tree do I pick?
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, the other turtles related thing. I don't know if you listened in last weekend, but I
Yeah,
found in like the cheap
yeah.
bin an earlier
Hmm.
IDW, like this
Color
city at
classic.
war,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this just kind of blew my fucking mind, man. I loved this. I'm not up to this era in my
Mhm.
original Turtles run reading yet,
Yeah.
so but this
Hmm.
was this was such a fun issue that it's really
Yeah.
great to see that IDW was doing stuff like this as well too, kind of giving
Hmm.
the here's a nod to the past, here's some reprints to give
Yeah.
you a sense of where it was coming from. This was
Hmm.
such a fun read. I adored this way more than I thought I would, and it kind
Yeah.
of helps to instill that kind of
Yeah.
enjoyment that's there with those characters, right? So
That's good to see you. I'm kind of excited that you're gonna pick up turtle books with me now. So it's kind of
yeah,
like not me just talking about it, because I am a
yeah,
fan.
yeah,
Yes, I am. But it's nice to have somebody because we do chat. So it's as I say, it's always more intriguing to read something when somebody else will do. Since I've known you,
yeah. It's true.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you see, I will see what about the Hellboy stuff, because this free comic book day got me really excited. I'm not really sure if
Mhm.
it's gonna what there is, or it's just a rumor, or somebody just spilled the things out, because I haven't heard anything him talking about it.
Right.
But I don't know, because I heard one thing. He said he's excited to start to tell folk tales once again with Hellboy. How many folk tales can you get? Because it seems to be he covered quite lots of them when it comes to like that monster Hellboy book I have.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, that's lots of stories to say,
Yeah.
like with Hellboy. So, I mean, if he's excited about something else, maybe he found somewhere hidden some treasure where he thinks, okay, Hellboy's perfect for that. And honestly, if I see Hellboy, but I want to see Liz Sherman again. I want to see Abe Sapien again, because
Yeah.
this is
Right.
the.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Hellboy, yes, he's a great writing stories, but those two guys working with him has always made me more excited than anything else, because of
Hmm.
so badly damaged all of them are. And then it
Hmm.
comes in together doing this kind of obscure sad things most of the time. I mean, never really a jolly good lucky funny story you get from Hellboy, do you?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be cool. I mean, I imagine for some of these writers, like they've just
Yeah,
got almost infinite well of ideas, and I think probably
probably.
as you get older too, and you start seeing things in the world a little differently, I'm sure that
Yeah.
kind of revitalizes some of those maybe stories
Mm.
that you overlooked in the past. That maybe you give them a second look, right?
Because he did that something with Hellboy, and like he looked like a robotic type of it things, but I
Mm,
never picked those up. It just didn't feel like the Hellboy I want, kind of thing. Like when you are liking some character the way he is, it's nice just to have, like, as I say, this like that sample of Free Comic Book Day. It just got me right there. Like, oh, this is why like that's why I was reading the Hellboy. You just have
mhm,
that little mystery. Oh, there you go, aging things, and it doesn't actually tell you why she just took it. She's just like nonchalant saying, "Oh, I just took a few years from her because she asked me a favor." Like,
uh-huh,
how many years do you take? Like 85? It's just a few
yeah,
years back. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, no, like, okay, it's just, you want something. Okay, you pay. Not that
yeah,
much. And you're
yeah,
like, it's this perfect Hellboy story. Just how he goes to solve the mystery, and he gets to the point where some crazy takes
yeah,
away people's well-being and everything like that. So I don't know. It will be great to see it again, to be honest. But yeah,
yeah,
we'll
shit,
see.
yeah.
Okay. Ah, yes.
Um, What else did I read?
Yes. Doom Patrol.
So the other stop that I made on my new comic or my free comic book day,
Oh, you got some back issues?
I went to Fantasy Club Comics here in town. That's the
Mhm.
guy that deals in. He just has kind of small press and indie publishers. He didn't have any free comic books. He had a little bit of a sale going on. Buffy needs to join BPRD. Yeah, right.
She's
He
damaged.
didn't have much of a he didn't participate in the free
Oh,
comic book day stuff. He can't afford it. But I
oh,
finally met him. So the owner's name is Austin, the guy who actually does this and approaches places like Domino Books and approaches some of these indie comics creators. He's actually
oh
trying to
wow.
get some guests come through Winnipeg. He's in talks with Jasper Jubinville, who's got a new comic, a new Dynamite Diva book coming out. He's a Canadian independent artist, early 20s, who's doing
Mm.
sort of like a book tour ish, and he's trying to get him to stop in Winnipeg as he kind of travels to Toronto because I think he's based in Vancouver. So I
Oh
picked
wow.
up a few books from him. It was really nice to actually meet him finally face to face and talk to him. But the standout for me out of the
Oh yeah.
books that I grabbed from him was this anthology called Clamp. This is Clamp number 5, and it's all New York cartoonist. It's 86 pages or something like that.
Oh,
It's black and
okay.
it's newsprint. It's
Oh
black and
wow.
white
Yes,
and
you can
color.
see.
It's
Yeah.
got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 different artists involved. There's a list of all of them there. This was
Oof.
such a standout. Like the usual with kind of anthologies is there's hit and misses. This was way more hits than misses. This was such an amazing read, and it really ran the gamut of all types of different stories. There's some names that I know about, like this first is Juliette Collette. She had this comic called Ha Ha, I think is what it's called. She contributes a piece
Mm.
really, really good, like right in her style. It's kind of one of the more straight ahead storytelling. Um, there's some real abstract stuff, like guys like Floyd Tangeman are in here. Who else is in here that I recognized? Obviously Nate Garcia. Nate Garcia does this cover as well too. There's an interview in here with Nate Garcia, and he just talks about kind of creating stuff. He's trying to, for example, like scan his pencils in because he'd like to do a book of his pencils as well as his completed works, and he gives a
Sorry.
sample.
Oh,
Go
but
ahead.
who publishing this one?
I'm not sure when it came out. It says
Hello.
summer 2023 from New York, and the company
Yeah, that's what.
is
Because I'm looking.
they're called No Good Books, is what the stamp inside
Oh.
says. So they've done a bunch of stuff. I guess their earlier, hello, Jason.
Mhm.
Their first 3 anthology Clamp issues were risograph printed, and they did them in
Okay.
like 100 copies or less, and you just can't get a hold of this stuff. But I guess this one they kind of embraced just doing it on newsprint and getting, the ability to print more and distribute more. But here's Nate Garcia, kind of his pencil stages of working out his strip there, and then you get the final on the other side. And he says the same thing that a lot of artists say, that the energy that happens in my pencils, it's hard to kind of capture that when I do the final. Yeah, Mocha. Yeah. um it's so good. I honestly can't recommend this one enough. And like I said, it feels like there's one that they actually printed a lot of copies of. So I think you can still get it out there. I think Partners and Sons in the United States has a copy. This is one of my new favorite guys too, this Jasper Krentz. I love his stuff. Like I said, Floyd Tangeman is in here. And then for here's some Floyd Tangeman stuff starting here. You can see kind of,
Oh.
I've talked about him in the past. He's got a very iconic style. All of these creators are kind of more what I would consider modern underground cartoonists. They would fit
Mhm.
really nicely within that kind of 70s era, because of some of the topics, some of the humor, some of the absurdity, some of the kind of stream of consciousness,
Mhm.
creativity that they're doing. Some of this color stuff here. Who is this creator? Um, yeah, they don't have them in order. I don't. Oh yeah, this next creator is Michael Chukron, I think is how you say it. This stuff really stood out to me. So a little color insert, looks like
Mhm.
ripped from sketchbook. Very expressive, very colorful. Yeah, absolutely. Keep your eyes out for it. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I'm sure you can still find copies, and I think Domino Books might have a copy as well too. One of the
Oh.
standouts for me though was this creator and this character specifically. This character called the Pencil Necked Geek. This was fucking hilarious strips. They were really entertaining. DW. The creator's name is Dan Welch, Welch, and one of the it really kind of hit a like a Zippy the Pinhead, a trailer trash, all of these kind of iconic Indian underground comics. This character feels like a character that could have his own book. Really, like genuinely funny stuff. And the one strip that kind of blew me away, where I think I read it a few times and laughed out loud every single time.
Mhm.
Uh, where is it here? I gotta say I love the newsprint. This strip here was phenomenal. Words of wisdom by the Pencil Neck Geek. So a variety of topics, and I love like as the topics kind of get a little more serious. I love
Yeah.
the look on his face that kind of changes throughout the whole thing, where he's really unsure of himself by the end. But like for a sample, um, representation, his words of wisdom on representation. I was at my high school friend's bachelor's party the other day, and I took the opportunity to ask him how many POC people he had invited to his wedding, and he couldn't give me a number. I told him I was not going to be able to make it to the ceremony. My plus one is still going though. And his lettering is really fantastic as well too. Actually, I don't know if that's focusing or showing up there, but his lettering
Yeah.
is real top notch. Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
there you
There's
go.
some.
You got it. Yeah, you got it.
I really dig it. It has that really good hand done feel, but still really clear. And I love the variety in each of the letters and stuff. But it's an amazingly good anthology. I would love to see if there's any issues of like number 4 even out there. I don't think it's going to be possible to get 1 to 3. It was a little pricier. It was $24 Canadian, but
Mhm.
for 86 or 87 pages, plus for me not having to pay for shipping to get here, which would cost another $20.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I'm happy to pay the $24 to get it. It
Domino
also
book.
came with a little extra as well too. Domino what?
Domino Books. I just looked it up. The wholesale website has it for $7.50.
Yeah, the wholesale. Yeah, so then you have to order a certain amount of them.
I don't know because I just typed in Domino Books and the only Domino Books wholesale website is comes out and it says
Yeah, so they have a wholesale, and for the wholesale stuff, generally you have to be like a store. So this guy at
okay.
Fantasy Club, I was talking to him about that. I'm like, how have you found getting stuff in? He's like, well, it's easier for me to approach an artist and get wholesale prices because I actually have a storefront. I can
I
say, hey,
see.
I actually have I have a place that I'm selling. I'm not just some random person. Because he was telling me a story when I think he might have been talking to Nate Garcia. He was
Mhm.
talking about some of these guys, what is being a little frustrating for them is they're finding there's people that are looking for wholesale prices, and then they're putting stuff up on eBay, and now because this stuff ends up selling out, they're getting a lot more money for those issues. So they're kind of hesitant. Some of these artists are hesitant to deal with people that want wholesale prices because they don't want that to happen. They want it to be on shops. They want it to be on comic book racks.
Mhm.
So this is from uh, George Henio Olson, and it's all Pigpen stuff. So this was the kind of one page. I guess with the Clamp books, they always had something extra in them
Oh
as
look,
well too. So
peanuts.
this is all Pigpen related stuff from Peanuts put on
Mhm.
like a sheet, and then a piece of art on the back of it. So that was kind of in the
Cool.
back of this whole package. So
So,
yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Really, really great.
So
Um,
$15
oh, and
retail.
how much? Sorry,
15, 15.
15 American. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
retail. It says retail price. So
Yeah,
I
right.
can't
Yeah,
find it anywhere here. I typed it in everything, whatever you just mentioned, and the only thing came out. You mentioned Domino Books. I typed Domino Books, and then I saw that one. And
yeah,
when I just typed in clamp anthology and whatever it's coming from, doesn't come out anything on the website. So I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
no, and I
easy.
have a feeling like some of this stuff is very region specific. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
amazed. And the only reason, like I said, the only reason I got my hands on is because of Austin here in town, which it was so great to finally meet him and kind of sit. Like, we ended up chatting for a good half hour, 45 minutes about comics. And he was like, I'm
Cool.
sorry, I'm really excited. It's not often that people come through that actually know this stuff. So it was just a really energetic, fun conversation.
Oh.
And especially a guy looking like me. Because at one point he said, I'm sure it's not easy for you to come walking into a store like this because the store that he's a part of is in this part of town.
Hmm.
It's really not a place that I would ever find myself in.
Oh
But
shoot.
I guess he also assumes that I'm a person that's not going to go explore things, which
Hmm.
is fine. But like, I'm like, I've got a daughter. We've come in here before too. She gets to look around. I look around at your comics. I'm just
Hmm.
really excited that it exists. I hope he gets more successful. I hope that he has success in bringing some of these artists here because I would love to go and hear them talk or whatever he wants to do. Like, bring him in for a signing or something. It would be great to meet some of these guys.
Hmm.
I also picked up Magnet Head issue number 2. This is Jasper Krentz as well.
Hmm. Oh.
Um, amazing, amazing issue. I'm really digging this artist a lot. I love his style. It
Hmm.
has that real energetic underground kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
This one, it kind of continues with his theme of he had some head trauma, and it caused him a great deal of pain. And
Oh.
he eventually he started anything would affect kind of his head, and he'd get this incredible headaches, and it started affecting his mood. So in this issue, he's finally gone to speak to somebody, and they've recommended some medication for him to help with his anxiety and anger issues and his pain and everything. So this issue explores that a little bit more, but I love his work. It's really great. And
Hmm.
then the last one I got from them is Matt Seneca, a book from Matt Seneca. I talked about it before. The book called Pure Evil is what I had before. It was a bit of a damaged copy, so it was $5. It's got a piece torn out of the front cover. I didn't
Hmm.
care because sometimes these are pretty expensive. So to get something for $5 was worth it. I love his art. I would highly recommend Pure Evil over this one. This was good. Really nice glossy cover and really
Yeah.
amazing paper. Um, beautiful art, beautiful coloring.
Oh
But I
wow.
thought Pure Evil
Fine.
was just a better story. Like, look at this panel, for example. It's really incredible stuff. I don't think Seneca has done a ton of comics. This
Hmm.
is 2022 is when this one came out. I think he does a lot of or has done some comic writing. I don't know if it was for Comics Journal or what,
Hmm.
but it's amazing, amazing art. The story in this one, like I said, just didn't capture me like the Pure Evil book did. So again, I think Domino might have some of this stuff as well, if not the usual culprits down in the States, like the Partners and Son and places like that. So yeah, really, really good stuff. Love that back cover. Very, very cool.
That's very schmancy cover, as we call it in
Mhm.
here.
And
Very good.
really high quality paper, like really nice and glossy. Not skimping on anything on that one for sure. So
I wonder
must
the
have
product.
some sort of grant or connections with people, is what I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
you wouldn't
Yep.
just like take that kind of paper and print all the stuff, and I mean, you have to invest like shitloads of money to do that.
Yep.
Have you ever read? That's kind of out of the blue. I just have this. I thought I will ask. Have you ever read Cullen Bunn's Sixth Gun, the Western
I haven't
hardcover? So
I haven't read the whole thing. No, I've read little bits and pieces early on, but then I fell off of it. I do like Cullen Bunn though. I really dig him as a writer.
no, they're coming out now. I mean, this became a thing, but maybe it's because hardcovers are quite pricey. But they're coming out with those omnibuses with a soft cover. But one thing, what they do is in slip cage. So I think there's
Oh
going to
yeah.
come out 4 omnibuses, because there's quite a few issues. I think 36 issues or something of that
Yep.
storyline. It looks quite cool, but it's just like, like a soft cover, not hardcover, because you would expect, because he used to come out. He came out with this gunslinger editions. I think Damien definitely had that on his when he bought it.
Hmm.
So much wider, like bigger, like
Hmm.
bombastious, like kind of type of it. Really look. I saw a couple of videos and it looked fantastic. So I saw one of the videos on YouTube where they showed that one in soft cover. It looks great inside. I mean, but like when you have such a big book, or like a phone book style kind of thing with soft cover, how far your soft cover can handle.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like, but a really good story. I just, when something gets reprinted, your memory just goes back. I really enjoyed that story when I was reading it. I read it in trades with libraries help most
Okay. Yep.
most of the time, and I think like slash digital in that time once what I was still having an iPad. So it was really good. I remember really enjoying the story. I mean, Western with a bit of the
Yeah.
six
Yeah.
guns. All of them
Yeah.
have
Right.
powers, and whoever gets in, and like they want to get hold of them, all six of them, because to gain the ultimate power. So no, I just wanted to mention that. It just sometimes you have a question in your head, just pops in and you just want to ask. So
Yeah.
it just came into my
Yeah. I'll
head.
have to check it out. I'm sure it's at the. I'm sure I've seen it at the library too. I should give it a
Yeah,
read. We went to visit the library recently, actually, and I picked up some
yeah.
stuff. So we went
I
to a new
haven't.
library that I haven't been at
Oh,
before, and they had a really
yeah.
nice graphic novel section as well.
Okay, cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
I haven't been in mine for a while now. I sometimes like I need a break, because sometimes when you go quite often, it becomes like too monotony in like the
Yeah.
same, and you see
See
all
the
it
same
seems to
thing.
be your head not seeing anything new or
Yeah.
refreshing. So it's like, oh, what's the point just going to see the same books kind of thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to go. But now I even like surprised to see that I pre-ordered something. No, not pre-ordered, but like reserved some book to come in.
Yep.
Those, because those Void Rivals is quite intriguing enough for me to just to see if our library has it, and see
Hmm.
what the fuss is all about, because apparently it's a good read as well. But we'll see
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
goes. I will keep on looking to see if they. Oh, I wanted that. When you went to Comic Book Guy, I wanted to see if he had a human target, because it would be on sale, so it would be cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have it. So it sold out like in an instant. He said.
Oh wow.
He said Tom King books doesn't last really long in his shop, which is
I bet.
good. He said he doesn't order. He doesn't really concentrate on the collected ones. But he's still comic book shop, like comics seller rather than graphic. He does have section, but he said it doesn't. He gets some to see if it sells. They usually
Yep.
don't really difficult to take a chance, because there's so many discounted places most of the time. Like Amazon is what kills him. He says that like I can't really compete with Amazon's prices
Yeah.
sometimes, because they do discounts more often.
And graphic novels have such a short window. Like they have such
Oh
a short
yeah,
window of
yeah.
sell, and then once they're not selling, like you can't. When I've tried to sell graphic novels locally, like even pricing one at like $5, people don't want them. They just don't want the graphic novels. It's not
Mm.
an easy thing to kind of get rid of. And then you got to build a shelf for them, and then that takes up room, and so because you were telling me, isn't your guys' shop a little smaller?
Oh yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't have space for anything, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I was like thinking I'm gonna chance it. Oh, oh, I'm going to try to buy the course to Dallas. Oh.
Yeah, Mothers of Liberty
Oh.
have joined public library advisory boards here. Yeah, I mean that was happening already. I remember talking about that too. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's the thing that I'm amazed at with my last library visit. At like I
Mhm.
said, this other one, we went to a different branch, and they had yeah, grooming is their catchphrase. They love that
What a
word, grooming.
what a word, hey?
Love it. They love it. They latch onto that like a fucking baby on a mother's teat, man. They love that shit. But I was
But
amazed at this library, the stuff
yeah,
they had for graphic novels
yeah.
on display. Like, they'll put stuff in kind of spine sticking out, but then there's stuff that's flat on. One of them
Mhm.
was a Fantagraphics book, and when I did a flip through it, it's got some pretty hardcore sex in it, like penetration style sex in it. And I was kind of surprised, but I mean they didn't have it hidden. They didn't have it was top shelf for the graphic novels, and it clearly
Oh
says
wow.
adult graphic novels and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a tough thing these days, man. especially with those catchphrase words.
No, I think some people should be banned from using words like that. This is like such an intense word to use. And I've watched like random, maybe just because I don't know what, but anyway, in your social media, random video of a librarian being accused of grooming kids, and
Mm,
she's like, I've been in business for like more than like 2 decades, and you're telling me now, after
hmm
22 decades of working in library, that I am doing that to your kids?
hmm
So it's like crazy. I just like I've never
Well,
even think.
they convinced a janitor at one library to hide the books. A librarian friend told me that's bonkers. I mean, like that's the same thing with the Ed Piskor thing when people were calling him a pedophile online. It's like, motherfucker, that word has very specific connotations. Like that word is pretty fucking heavy to be throwing around like
Yeah.
you're ordering a fucking cheeseburger with extra pickles or something, you know? Like it's people don't understand, I think, the power that some of these words can potentially have
I
and
know.
what
It's
imagery
just
comes with that. Like pedophile
yeah.
is a very specific set of imagery. Grooming is the
Yes.
same thing. Like that's a
Yes.
very specific
Yeah.
predatory type of energy to that world, right? So, or that word rather.
So it's a pity that an adult's not realizing the word of use of word, how can damaging can it be to anybody,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
especially when you younger person doesn't really clearly and well relies on adults to actually being taught the right ways to using the words, but it isn't.
Hmm. They
Ah,
just advise, but libraries don't have to take it. Yeah, that's right. More city council members agree with
that's
them.
why they
Well,
want
and
to
that's the
use
thing,
those
right? Like
words.
I'm all for getting a lot of different voices at the table and stuff, and that's the thing of like they're
Hmm.
part of an advisory board, but yeah, it just depends on how far their power extends, right?
Yeah.
And again, ultimately, it is up to the school. If the school decides not to have them on the shelf, I mean, that is ultimately their decision. So, you know,
But it's one specific.
unfortunate.
I wonder if you're like a library or like let's say a body of like a school. So you have all your person in charge. So is she actually discussing that to the teachers in the school to decide that this is not something we're supposed to have as a subject in our school, or is your as a personal thing or feeling to have not have that because you feel uncomfortable about it and you're not
Mm,
able to have the wider way of spectrum of analyzing if somebody asks you a question. That's the problem. It becomes is not
mhm,
really how they come to judge that point, you know what I mean? So
mm,
it's absolutely kind of bonkers to me. I mean, we have in library symbols as far as now this, I mean, as far as I'm going, adult is always every single book is usually stickered to a
mhm.
point where sectioned, so
Yeah,
adults, kids, blah blah,
yeah,
have more visible when it's adult, so it's more visible. It's actually have a poster next to it, it's adult, like kind of plastered, so
yeah.
the parents or kids can see it. You know what I mean? But nobody will say, like I've never seen a mother running saying, "Oh, don't grab that because it says an adult on it." You know what I
Mhm,
mean? First of all,
mhm.
because the etiquette in libraries are hush hush, don't say anything. You have to be kind of tiptoeing almost to the point. I actually was told off once because I was walking too loud. I
Oh
was
yeah,
like, "Excuse me." Some lady who was reading a newspaper was telling me off. It's just a
yeah,
random thing. But anyway, so,
yeah.
but I've never seen or experienced that because there's another library which is kind of more locally to me. It's quite really small, one room. So they have lots of sections and stuff. And they do have graphic novels. And guess what? It's next to the children's ones.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
But they do have an adult books.
yeah.
And it's quite easy for kids to actually see all that titles,
Right.
like because it's just basically a shelf next to it, like I mean,
Mhm.
like, so but nobody bothers. I mean, nobody
Yeah.
even cares, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
God,
and in our library, they have the adult graphic novels away from the kids' graphic novels. So
there you
there's
go.
quite a bit of separation. Like they have their own shelf and
Hmm.
even in our libraries here that like we have another local one that's smaller. It's attached to a YMCA and a gym and everything. And that one's smaller. And even that one, there's still some distance between like what's clearly labeled as young adult and kids graphic novels to clearly labeled adult graphic novels, so it's hard to make a mistake to see pulling
Yeah.
something off of one shelf versus the other. Like it's very, very visibly marked, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Uh, So, do you have anything else? I saw your at Brubaker. Come on.
One more thing, yeah, just one more to talk about.
The at
That I talked about
Brubaker.
in the past. Yeah,
So,
I
library
finally
fine.
this was a library book. Yeah, so
Yes.
this was the impetus to go and try to check out another library and see what else they
Okay.
had. Um,
Before you say.
I loved this one. Zombie Tramp Crossed and My Little Pony on the bottom racks next to each other. Surprising, no parent ever complained. That's bonkers. I mean, that's a little bonkers on the shop to be doing that.
Cross?
Yeah, a
I
comic
mean,
shop that is
cross.
now closed. What a
Uh,
shock.
yeah. Okay, go
So
on.
I finally just grabbed this
Yeah.
off the shelf and decided to give it a
Yeah.
shot after people have
Yeah.
been talking about it for quite a long time.
Yeah. I said to you.
I really dug it. It was an enjoyable read.
Yeah.
Um, an interesting topic as someone who's potentially dealt with various addiction issues. There's a
Mhm.
heavy kind of addiction element with this, right?
Yeah.
Of this guy who's in this family, and again, some of that resonates a little too close to home because I mean, with addiction
Yes.
issues, whether you have a family or not, these things kind of spring up in your mind sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, it was really intriguing, like a really kind of solid story. He does disappoint sometimes, though. Gore,
Yes.
the reckless stuff, I think, is shit. To be totally blunt, I don't like it. And it honestly turned me off of reading his stuff. But this
Yeah.
one was really solid, and this kind of taking over someone's identity and living another, that
Mhm.
freedom that kind of came to this character of not
Yeah.
being himself and not being associated with himself and his life, where he kind of had this freedom to do these things, and what that kind of released in him. Even this guy who's we find out he's taken over his kind of personality is saying like, man, I've seen something in you during this time. um
Well, reckless. About reckless.
what's the first, Gore? um the, the guy seeing something in him, like, listen, as we've been spending time together, I see that you've got this personality in you. I see you have these traits in you. Don't deny it
Yeah.
anymore. And again, like
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about offline before we started, you
Yeah.
end up sometimes going and hanging out with people that do have addictions, and they kind of
Yes.
end up trying to use you in a way of it
Yeah.
justifies their kind of
Mm-hmm.
addictions when you have someone there with you, right?
Mm.
So they sort of live off each other. I thought the ending was pretty solid too, with
Yes.
kind of him going home and snapping out of it. It left it kind of ambiguous, like, is anything going to happen to him because of this? Is he
Yes.
going to dig into this life a little more? Is he going to
Mm-hmm.
go back to his everyday kind of life? And I really wasn't sure, because he's, as he's lying there in bed with his eyes open staring at the ceiling, it's
Yes.
like, man, that clarion call is there. And again, like, some of this just hit home a little bit, right? Like, there's those
Mm-hmm.
feelings. It happens in life, right? You have these thoughts of what could have been, or what could potentially be. And that kind of that wild nature in human beings doesn't necessarily always completely go away, right? So yeah,
I
I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty solid read.
I really felt like he had a really bad midlife crisis on top of that. So
Yep.
he's a writer. He or like what was he? No, he's a was he like he's a journalist or something like that, isn't he? What is
He is a
a book
failed
writer?
writer. He's now like
Well, right, yeah.
a publicist, but he like goes around to try
Yes.
to sell books to other markets, basically. So he
And
travels
what
for his job.
and what spawned it is the book he read in the plane while traveling, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So there was a dream that
Yeah.
one of the books he was reading that caught his attention. There was a
Yes.
dream, this
Yeah.
guy that was having dreams about
Yeah.
his kind of base nature. You know what I mean? And he
Hmm.
said, "This is impossible. This is exactly my dreams. How did this
Exactly.
motherfucker steal my dreams?" When that's kind of,
Yeah.
again, I personally think that's more a universal thing, like
Yeah.
this urge within us to kind of go back to something that's a little more basic and primal. I think is within all of us. It's how you act on it, right? It's what you do with those urges. So yeah, this is the shit is a good thing. Yeah. This is the shit is a good thing. Yes.
Oh,
But as far as not liking Reckless, no, that was just shit.
no,
It's not the shit.
it didn't work for me either. The character
Mhm.
wasn't something I wanted to kind of like follow or did understand kind of thing. It just didn't have that fit. I liked the settings of the first one because of that old cinema he was living at, kind of interesting, intriguing enough. But then it
Mhm.
just didn't click with me with the character. Somehow it didn't. It just the story wasn't cohesive enough for Brubaker, which kind of ought to say that, but just it just felt like that to me. And then I lost completely because it was what, three of them for the to actually
No,
for them.
I think now there's been like 4 or 5 of them at this
Oh
point, I
wow!
think. I think there's at
So that's
least
quite a
4,
lot.
possibly 5, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's quite a lot for that story, to be honest. Like this kind of like this one-off book stories are perfect for them.
Mhm.
It's kind of like you have the whole thing, and it has enough of character. I think this character was really well portrayed, kind of like how miserable he was, how astounded he was that somebody stole his dream in the plane while he's traveling. Kind of like in that plane. And then I think it just not only falls when you're in a bit bad mood, something happens, it just falls in the right places. And like I'm talking, the wrong things happen to you when you're in the
Mhm.
in the right space like that time, and it just ticks you, like it ticks. So he was
Mhm.
basically ticked once, twice, and then suddenly he ended up in that somebody like basically took him on the joyride in the way that he didn't have really much of a choice of. And then
Mhm.
having like sex with a younger female and suddenly not
Yeah.
really still being satisfied because he knows he has a wife and blah 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 waiting for him at home. It's just like, okay, it just works really well for the character, and that's how what Brubaker really does well with that. But when he had like,
But
as I say,
also recognizing that that's a part of his personality and thoroughly
yeah,
enjoying
yeah,
it when it was happening, right?
oh
Like,
yeah, yeah, of
making
course,
up like, there was the
yeah,
whole part in there too where he's like, "Oh, and then I got drugged and I don't really know
hmm
what was
hmm
going on." That almost felt like he became a character that was telling
yeah,
someone after the fact of like, "Oh, man, a whole bunch of crazy stuff happened, but I honestly don't remember too much, Your Honor. I had
yeah,
blackouts." It's like, "Uh-huh, yeah, sure you did, mhm." Is it stuff that you really don't remember or stuff you just don't want to admit to, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
it felt a little like that. Like, it was an intriguing character. It was a good quick read. Like, I sat down and read it in one kind of chunk. And again, their ability to tell a story like that
yeah,
and have it kind of move so seamlessly and move really nicely. It didn't
hmm
feel like it got held up at any points.
yeah.
Every passage kind of led to the next naturally. Like, he's got a good style when he's in the zone. He's got a really good style, and they're a damn good team.
Have you seen the new book? I think because
I
I
haven't.
saw Sean Phillips's Twitter post, and it's called Houses of Unholy.
Oh, wow.
So so this is a new. So the only thing he says on this post says, "Oh, so shiny," because that blood basically splattered on the book. It's what he says. House. So what? So it looks like he's gonna be something that, because there's a little girl on that. I don't
Mhm.
know if you were able to see it through that.
I couldn't.
Um,
Yeah, couldn't see it.
so there's a little girl on the picture frame with
Yep.
underneath the name, and that's what says House of on the Holy. So possession, I guess that's what's the next type. And because that's only I haven't seen, because Brubaker sends you a newsletter telling you what's coming up. Somehow I missed
Yep.
it. Maybe that this is some upcoming thing, but this is the one.
Oh, right. I see it now. I'm just doing a search. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. As I say, I don't have no information for it. I just saw this picture Sean Phillips has posted, just saying that it's shiny, because that's how we
Right.
usually advertise it before release dates. As far I remember, that's what happened. Night Fever, the one you were just reading.
Hmm.
Sean Phillips tends to put some pictures out, like of actual book. So I guess that's what we're
Right.
gonna look forward to. And you haven't yet found that book. Where's the body? I think that's the one.
I
I
haven't
bought.
looked for it, honestly. I'm sure it's at the library. They carry a lot of Brubaker stuff. I just haven't grabbed it yet.
So have a look at that. If look for that one, because that's a very good mystery story as well. I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed it. So there's another
Yeah,
one
cool.
which I really liked, and that one got sold out quite quickly because people liked. I mean, I really enjoy. I like Rebecca to the point. Like Reckless was giving me a sour taste, and I had to take a break, and it kind of was a break for a point until I found that one in library as well. Read that one, and
Yeah.
it just got a taste.
I
Oh,
think
there you
that's
go.
that's the biggest thing, right? Like I think it's just a break. It's just that
Yeah.
at that point with Brubaker and Phillips, it just felt like, okay, I just
Hmm.
clearly need to step away from them for a while, and didn't
Hmm.
read anything of theirs for quite a while other than reading that Friday book. That was it, right? But I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
they've done some amazing stuff, like the other stuff they've done at Image. This stuff ain't
Oh,
going
oh,
anywhere. This pulp,
yes.
this bad weekend, like I've still got all these ones. My heroes have
My
always
goodness.
been
Yeah.
Junkies, and then this Cruel Summer. Like this stuff ain't going anywhere. It's solid stuff. It's just that Reckless just was not hitting a note for me whatsoever.
So Amazon says it's a late August release for that Unholy book. It seems to be like
Right.
what August. That's cool. That's good enough time
Mhm.
for me. Um, the you said that the Friday is coming out soon. Did you hear when is it coming?
Soon, yeah. I don't remember what the date is. Let's see. Let's see if I can see anything.
Oh, this is the synopsis about the book. In this new tale, FBI agent from the Cull crime beat and the woman with the past link with the Oh my God, Satanic Panic. Huh.
Oh, the
Okay.
Satanic Panic. Yeah, yeah. Amazing.
Oh, Underworld. Oh, good.
Shadows of the Underworld. It says, I think, July 24th, 2024 is
Okay.
when the next one comes out, I think. But
Friday.
what does this also say?
Because
Something
the
about a
Amazon is.
collected.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Oh,
no,
so.
no, it's not. No.
Oh,
Collected
okay.
editions. No, it was a poor wording choice. Yeah, so number 3 comes out July 24th is what
Hmm.
it says on. This is on the Image Comics page anyway. What the reality
Okay.
is, I guess we'll
Hmm.
see. But I'm really looking forward to that. Those first two are just so goddamn good. I can't wait. And looking at it, book 2 came out December 2022, so it's been quite a wait
Yeah,
from the last book to this third
I
one.
I read it originally from Panel Syndicate website.
Mhm,
That's how they came out first digitally, because that's what they did with their story. Then he came out with the comic, and then I read the library ones
mhm.
because I found a library, both of them. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna wait. Maybe I know it's good. I don't know. So now thinking about this Friday book, do you think that boy who got killed? Because the first one was solid for me. I mean, superb storyline. Second, it wasn't. I mean, it was really good, but somehow I
Mm,
felt like because of his death, she's kind of completely like out of it. The Fridays, she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Do I, should I? And she has this mystery to solve again. And it kind of
mhm.
was a cliffhanger. It finished at, isn't it? Like the point.
Yeah, it did end up as a cliffhanger because
Yeah,
wasn't her mother involved in it or something? Like there was something to
yeah,
do with her direct family. But I mean, I think as for what you said there, that's the appeal of the book. Because again, it's this
hmm,
now older girl going to revisit her past and her childhood and
yeah,
coming to terms with her childhood and all of these kind of
hmm,
themes, right? But I mean, I loved the first was a great setup. I really enjoyed the second one as well too. Like I think it's a really strong book in that world of kind of,
hmm,
Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, those kind of books, right? Like it really feels like it fits that with more of a Brubaker kind of twist, right? Like with a bit of a darker element to it. So
yeah. It's nice.
yeah,
I mean, he works with Sean Felix, and it's kind of they two attached to each other. But when he goes and does his own thing with Avatas, it's kind of more refreshing, and his style of writing somehow changes a little bit, which is really good if you want to take a break of that. I think
yeah,
that's what makes it really quite good. And of course, as a writer, he has that many chops to do so. Do you know what I
right,
mean? It feels like a
yeah,
little bit more different style to what story, how he's going to portray it as well, because it gets kind of influenced by I presume, both creatives. I mean, because I know that he's used to be telling that he not only him is working at that, they work together. So they
of
give
course, yeah,
points to each other and how everything the story is going to pan out. But that's kind of interesting to see. But I'm looking forward to Friday as well. It's like really cool,
hmm,
one of the good storytelling, and Brubaker.
yeah,
But I'm wondering now, I've not heard any more about the criminal stuff. They said that Amazon bought it, but
mm,
there's no more information. Like always, they talk about it, and then it's
It
just
takes
disappears.
so long though, because I mean, the last
I
time they
know.
were talking about it, it had just kind of been picked up, you know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like that takes a long time to get that stuff going, getting the writing, getting the money, getting everything going and shooting. Like that could sometimes be years in the making, right? So it really depends on how quickly they move. But yeah, it's a long process,
Mm.
especially if he's at the helm with the writing. I'm sure that he's going to have some, not demands isn't the right word, but I'm sure he's going to have some like expectations is the better word. You know what I mean? As far as like the quality of it, right? I would hope so anyway. He seems to
Well,
be versed in kind of writing for TV, so I'm
but
sure he understands those writer rooms kind of things a little better too.
it's risky as well. Look at what happened to. I mean, it's not really good in comparison, but let's say Bone. A lot of things
Mm,
happened, talked about Bone, blah blah blah. This is gonna come out, this and then now he still nothing came out. It basically
that's right.
broke down, and it's now not gonna happen. Yes, but then it's just
Well,
like
Peter
you take risk as a creator as well to be in that world because people get
Peter
excited.
Bagg has said famously about his buddy Bradley and Neat Stuff characters in the Bradley's family. It's been
Mm.
optioned a few times for
Oh,
a cartoon or a show, and he's like, it's never come to anything, but I always take the money. They option it, and they just don't do anything. So I mean, that's also something that happens. People option a lot of stuff and kind of hold the rights for a certain period of time, and
mm,
then they have 20 projects, and now they have to pick 5 or 6 of them, right? So I think
yeah.
that's a game that often happens too, right? It's like take the money for the option, and then it reverts back to you that you can go option it to someone else who wants to give you a chunk of change, right? So
Hmm. Cool.
yeah.
I was wondering who I'm gonna draw next.
Mm,
I guess I always picked up last. I mean, from the school back, I did the free comic book day stuff. I think the
hmm.
Hellboy could be the one because of the. I like the
Yeah, that
art.
would be a good
I'll pick the crazy lady with her crazy eyes. I guess that's
one.
because I like to know. I was told that I usually it looks like I'm picking more emotional panels, which is true. Because that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Emotional portrayal on a piece of paper is much more difficult than just static face. You know, like a
something that's
pixel.
memorable from the issue, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that Teenage Turtles was that the
Hmm.
splinter memory thingy together in kind of a good feeling. Let's say so.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Garth Ennis returned to
Oh
Marvel
wow.
last week with a new Nick. Oh yes, I heard about that Frank Castle
Oh, that's
miniseries
cool.
is coming out.
Right.
Yeah, that's good trade to wait.
Yeah, that
even
would be
though
interesting
even
too.
even though Garth Ennis, I mean, it's just because it's Marvel. It's just
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
I have a feeling for. I haven't even. I keep every single time I talk to my guy about Marvel, he always says, "Ugh." He's always like because he says never know. He doesn't never know because like X-Men stuff. This X-Men animated series just came out on right time apparently because people
Hmm.
were so flat about the series so far. So since the what is his name? Oh my god, why am I blanking his name? What the hell's going on? What's his name? Blackman the Murders. Who did it? The writer?
Oh, Hickman.
Yes. So since Hickman's X-Men stuff happened, and there was lots of things happening, and it was very popular, but then they introduced a new creative team. It started crashing
Mm,
like to the point of no
right.
return. And apparently they was keep on rehashing. They got a new editor in chief again, who's gonna supposed to bring it back, but everybody's saying it's just flat, flat, flat. So TV show came out, and that revived
Yeah.
again excitement for the X-Men. So for Marvel, basically just came out just the right time. So they now coming out like you clearly can see. I showed you on the free comic book day animated series X-Men because people are excited about X-Men now. And like people
Hmm.
researching the first appearances apparently again spiking up a bit more. The X-Men
Yeah, yeah,
comic book
yeah.
with the late is actually increasing in value. Like that's how what it takes apparently.
Yeah, it's all fucking
Just
marketing games, man. That's all it
yeah,
is.
yeah, 97. Like just no,
Yeah,
no.
right.
Yeah. Justin Timberlake and all this. Yeah, and Sync is back. Woo! Everybody's like everywhere. It's like
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
they were coming. Like they're doing a tour apparently, and people from
Oh,
like
okay.
who saying that. Oh my god, so exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why. And that's
Yeah.
why how you make like 20 years has passed, really?
Yeah.
For pop's music. Oh, that's crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, we were talking, Lillian's been getting into some Nirvana, and we were talking about Nirvana yesterday with her, and I
Yeah.
was asking my wife, it's like, I wonder how old, I think it was Frances Bean, and so my wife started looking up, she's like, "Oh, she's 31 years old now." It's like, holy fucking Moses.
Hmm.
So it's like this time, speaking of time kind of
Yeah.
hitting you over the head, it's been that, a long time since Kurt has been dead, and yeah, it's wild.
So
The
Kurt's
stuff
daughter
that's now
married
vintage and retro.
somebody's famous son. I forgot the name of it. She married somebody famous as well. Like, anyway, it's all in the same bean product. It's
Right.
funny how the mother. What's the mother? What's her girlfriend's name? The
Uh,
girlfriend's name?
Courtney Love, yeah.
She's always been the crazy one. Yeah, I
She's
mean, she
apparently,
was.
well, the interesting thing about it was reading about it, and she got completely pushed out. Like Frances Bean has control over Kurt's likeness and image use and stuff, and kind of his
Oh
estate.
wow!
She gets like, in royalties alone, she gets over $1 million a year just from royalties. So apparently Courtney Love has been pushed out a long time ago by Kurt's parents and that sort of thing, like her grandparents and stuff, right? So she's taken over a lot of it. Apparently she's a model and actress and artist herself, and
Hmm.
so it was kind of interesting to read a little bit more about her,
Yeah.
to hear a little bit more, because I was driving as she was looking this stuff up and we were talking about it. It was just kind of interesting to hear what's happened since that time, because I
Yeah.
guess she was like 20 months old or something, I think is what it said in the piece when Kurt killed himself. She was
No,
still
no, no,
really, she was a
no.
baby.
She wasn't that small. I think she was like 6 or 4.
No, no, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Surely. Because I remember seeing the picture of him holding her. Maybe it's just maybe I'm gone mad.
Let's see. She was born in 92.
Oh yeah, so you 91 then, yes? Didn't he do
Yeah,
91?
because I think, was it 90 or 91? I don't remember
That's
exactly,
yeah,
but
that's the 2 days. Yeah, I'm done.
yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah, April 1st, 1994, when she was 20 months old, Cobain visited her rehab center, blah, blah, blah. Last time she saw her father alive. Yeah, so 20 months old. 1 week later, he was found dead. So
Yeah.
94, rather, is when he killed himself. Obviously, he
Oh
wouldn't have killed
wow.
himself
So she
before that.
was yes, she was really
Yeah,
small then.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
wild, man. Wild.
jeez.
It's also cool, Lillian getting into that stuff too. So it's been
Wow,
fun to
yeah,
kind
it's
of.
a good
I
choice.
haven't listened to Nirvana in a hell of a long time, so it's been kind of
Mhm.
fun to listen to some of that stuff again with her, and think about what that music meant at the time, right? Like the impact that it had on us, and like, I mean, it's one of those things. Sound like such an old man. I remember when he killed himself. Like, all of us were, just absolutely stunned and kind of horrified, right? And yeah,
I
it's pretty
didn't.
impactful.
No, well, I was a few years old. I'm not gonna say how old because you'll know.
A few, so 3. You were 3 years old at that time?
No,
Interesting.
no, a bit
Wow.
older. A bit older. Man.
Yeah, right.
So stupid
Yeah.
what I am with that age, but hey,
21. I was 21, man. That's wild.
you were 21.
Yeah,
Wow.
90 in 94. Yeah, yeah, because I was born 73.
I
Yeah.
see.
I'm
Okay.
an old man, Russ. I'm an old man.
I don't know why
You're
I'm not
talking to an
saying
old
it.
man online. Don't
So
you start
94?
calling me groomers out there, people.
No, wait, so did you say you were born like he died in 94 or 91? Did you
He
say?
died in 94 is
So
what
she
it
was
said
pretty young.
there. Yeah, so 1994 is when he died. Yeah.
So it's 12.
Yeah, right. Jesus.
I still
Well,
remember.
Groomer signing off for this week, everybody. Thanks very much for
I
watching.
mean, in the 90s I was 12, not 12 now, for God's
No, I
sake.
know, I know. I understand. I understand. Youngsters, the lot of you.
I love Nelly Furtado. I saw her
Uh,
doing a
I love,
video.
yeah.
Absolutely
I
love
love
her.
Christina Aguilera, man. I love Britney Spears as well too. We played Toxic on the radio show. a month ago. I love that. I fucking love that song. And a lot of that stuff, it's written by like 40-year-old men anyway. So that's also why some of it is so goddamn good. It's like the Serge Gainsbourg writing perverted music for young girls and having them perform it as they sit back smoking and drinking, right? So yeah.
So many people would be cancelled. And
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
mm. I was
40
I was I was listening some of the house music, which is turned like what 15 to 20 old years old. I was
Yeah.
like, how is that 20 years old? Come on,
Yeah.
man. I can remember clearly going to the like rave club, going for like it's just
Amazing. That's amazing.
but there's those like some of them like so iconic in my head, but then you realize
Yeah.
shit, we don't have a clue. Like they don't really. I mean, house. I had this phase, so there was rave, but house rave. So rave first. I mean, of course, pop. I grew up with that. I didn't have a choice. Everything is played
Yeah.
pop
Yeah.
anyway in my country. But then I went for rave, like absolutely mad. Never went for grunge, but Nirvana was always there, present, because I really like Cobain's persona, and I remember
Yeah.
clearly when that happened because I remember the news. Like the house, they showed the house where it happened. Kind of showed the shotgun, which is kind of weird because my country is very sensitive when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but I remember all that stuff. But like I guess even 12-year-old gets impacted by that kind of like news and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
so grunge never been my thing. I never liked too much, but Nirvana always kind of resonated to me because of the music. I don't know, just the way Cobain was always singing. I remember what really clearly got impacted when when he would be doing this like famous live, when he was playing guitar in like a circle, and there was people around them, kind of in. So the whole band was in circle, and they were doing the live session. That completely blew my socks off. I
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah. Yeah.
clearly. And then I never stopped, and I just loved the guitar sounds because I always been
Yeah.
a fan of that.
The thing
So
that was also impressive about them is like they were good friends with like I'm a huge Melvins fan even to this day. I was just listening to Melvins in the car today.
yeah.
They, Kurt tried out for Melvins. They did a split single with the Melvins. They helped Melvins get a big contract at Atlantic Records. They did a
Mhm.
split with another amazing band called the Jesus Lizard. So they kind of had this. They were in this circle where there was some incredible unknown kind of bands that were getting more press because of their kind of mild association with Nirvana. And I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes even it was, Kurt would wear like a Flipper t-shirt, this band called Flipper. So that all of a sudden people would be looking
Yes,
into bands like that, and that
he
was
was,
kind of one of the beauty things about them gaining all this popularity.
but
The
such a
amount of
great.
other acts that they kind of brought to the surface for the bigger people's attention was incredible. I mean, Melvin's had an amazing little chunk of time there where they made a boatload of money based off of kind of that whole association. And of course, at that time, once they hit, everybody was looking for grunge bands to sign. That was also part of it too, right? So Mudhoney and Tad and all these other kind of bands were getting these big contracts because everybody wanted the next Nirvana, like the next Ninja Turtles. Everybody wanted to
Mm?
publish black and white funny animal comics because it's like, dude, we're gonna get the next Ninja Turtles and we're gonna be
Oh yeah,
millionaires.
yeah.
So yeah,
But the but
but a
the
lot
but
of good bands came out of that.
Well, they still do though. The
Hmm.
pure the pure. I mean, radios. They had that. There was the anniversary of the Kurt Cobain's appreciation day. It's always every year happens in this. I don't know if it happens in Canada, but in the UK,
I'm
always
sure it does. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't pay attention,
every
but I'm sure.
year, and and every radio station just plays Nirvana's music, and you're
Mhm.
like, oh, we're back to Nirvana now again. Like you just had that jolt, and that's why probably kids gets to be like, what is this all about? And
Yeah,
honestly, there was like I saw this video. It's probably on the socials, and they were telling like choose Nirvana or some other band. Oh, Taylor Swift. How do you compare two? I don't have a clue.
yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
the girl, like they were like maybe 15, 16, 17, let's say that range. And they picked because they're not fans of Taylor Swift. So we picked Nirvana. It's like, have you ever heard of Nirvana? Nope, have no clue about it. But that's not why
Yeah,
did
yeah,
you pick it? I hate Taylor Swift anyway, so
yeah, yeah. Right.
okay, but decided to pick the random name called Nirvana. But it's like, but you when you say
Yeah,
that, then that kind of person says they never heard of Nirvana. It's like it's kind of odd to our ears, okay,
yeah. Of course. Yeah, yeah,
because you kind of think that everybody's supposed to. Anyway,
yeah.
but that's what happens with music these days. You know, you
Well, that's what happens generationally, right? Like, there
yes,
was a time
exactly.
where I'd never heard of the Beatles, and my dad was like, "What the fuck you mean you've never heard the Beatles?" You know what I mean? Where it's you don't, you're not born knowing all this stuff, right? Like you need to get exposed to it.
Or like the drummers goes absolutely berserk about Ringo's and his ability to
Yeah,
drum and how many he inspired to become what
yeah,
they were, and then how it
totally.
is amazing on that sense. And the guy who has not been taught being a drummer, but he just he had a ups for it, and he just had his own
Mhm.
flair to it, and that makes a big difference. Of course, it makes big difference because he wasn't Beatles. Don't forget.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
That's just gives you straight away up for anybody else on top of that. Anyway,
yeah, yeah,
on that note,
yeah.
on,
Get the hell out of here.
we
I got to get up
yeah.
out of this chair. My fucking legs are killing me.
Oh, why you
Sitting too
sit
long.
sit? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so thank you, people. Go Vidal mainly for chatting to us. Thank you
Yep,
very much.
Gordon, nice to see you.
On Jason for stopping by, Damien for being there, Donald Rex being here. Thank you very much, people, for managing to pop in. And Dika Banowski, which thank you very much for scrolling a couple of pens things, and which is really good for us to have you here.
Yep,
And yes, we'll see you maybe next week.
yep. How it goes for sure.
Good night. Bye
Right on
bye.
later.
See
Bye.
you later. Oh, this cider is properly working.